I have a chance.
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 Have a chance.
I have a chance.
I have a
I
chance.
have a chance.
I have a chance.
I have a chance.
I
Have a chance.
Have a chance.
I have a chance.
I have a chance.
I have a chance.
It's the big one.
Target on my back, lone survivor last. They got me in the sights.
Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is the 2017 edition of the NRLOA Big One. We are here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway for the NRLOA Big One III, and today 80 competitors will battle it out to see who will be crowned the best driver in the NRLOA for 2017. This is the largest race that I run on this channel. Like I said, 80 competitors, and you all have a chance. Anyways, I'm going to explain a few things before we get to the heat racing. First thing I would like to say, I do not expect you, of course, to watch the whole thing through to find yourself. So in the description, you will find which heat race you are going to be starting in for round number 1, and there's going to be a timestamp next to each heat race, so you can click right there and get to the heat race that you are in. The drivers from heat races 1 and 2 will advance to heat race 1 in round 2. The drivers from heat races 3 and 4 that advance on will advance on the heat race number 2 in round 2. The drivers that advance on in heat 5 and heat 6 will advance on the heat 3 of round number 2. And the drivers who advance from heat 7 and heat 8 will advance on the heat number 4 in round number 2. There will be last chance qualifier races as well. At the end of each round, there will be a last chance qualifier race. The first one, the top 4, will advance on. The rest of them will be eliminated. And in the second last chance qualifier after round number 2, the top 2 advance on to the main event along with all the drivers that advanced on from round 2, and everybody else will be eliminated. The main event will have 22 drivers. It's going to be 2 12-lap segments and a 24-lap main event to crown the champion in the NRLOA Big One III. All the timestamps are down below. You can get to each individual heat race in each individual round, and you guys should not have any trouble finding where you're going to be. So yes, I believe that's about it. There are no cautions turned on in this race, so if they crash, they crash. There are no pit stops, and there's just a lot of heat racing. I think all in all, I think I calculated it to be about 288, I think. Might be, no, 286 miles long overall for this race. So it's a very long race. Actually, I could be wrong about that. I might not have gotten that correct, but it's still one of the longest races of the season. And it is going to be very interesting to see who gets the victory at the end of the day. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this 2-hour extravaganza of cars going around this 3-mile racetrack. And I will see you in just a moment for heat race number 1 of round number 1. Enjoy the NRLOA Big One III. And we are here for round 1, heat 1, in the NRLOA Big One III, the 3rd annual edition of this race. And 80 drivers come here today to battle it out. We got 10 drivers in each heat, 8 heat races here in round number 1. And like I explained earlier, the top 5 in each heat race in this round will advance on to round number 2. Those drivers who did not advance on to round number 2 in their heat races will go to the first of 2 last chance qualifier races in this event, and the top 4 in that last chance qualifier race will advance on the round number 2. If you do not advance on past the first last chance qualifier race, you are done for the day. Anyways, let's go ahead and show you guys the drivers in heat race number 1. Of course, you can look down in the description to see which heat race you are in. Each heat race is organized by numerical order. so it shouldn't be too hard to find yourself and which heat race you are in here in round number 1. Anyways, row number 1 here in heat number 1 is Cody Sill. We'll start on the pole in the number 34. Alongside him, it's Carl Adams, his first ever start here on Napa Fan in the 04. James Richardson. And the number 21 starts alongside the 38 of Ricky Stevenson. Stevenson won a Chick-fil-A Cup Series race on Monday. At the number 44 of Jack Lagasee, his first ever start here on the channel, alongside the number 0 of Daniel Bouchard, who lost the race to Ricky Stevenson on Monday at the Texas Motor Speedway. Row number 4, the number 88 of Dale Salzmann, the most experienced driver in this field for this heat race, alongside the number 75 of Derek Hamill. And in the final row here for heat race number 1, it's the number 22 of Clarence Edwards, his first ever start here on Napa Fan, I do believe, and the number 26 of Aidan Shepherd. Let's go ahead and get these guys to roll off here for heat race number 1 in round number 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. And the top 5 from each of these 3-lap heat races in round number 1 will advance on to round number 2. It does appear that everybody is going to roll off here, so that is a good thing. It is Cody Sill in the 34, starting alongside Carl Adams in this race, I should say. And I believe that all 10 drivers in this heat race will start. And as long as all the drivers cross the start-finish line under full power, they are good to go, and we will keep on going. We'll not reset the field if somebody has an issue right after the start. Anyways, the pace car is going to pull off, and the NRLOA Big One for 2017 is about to begin. Heat race number 1 in round number 1 is green here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. The number 34, Cody Sill on the inside lane, gets a great jump on the start. It's Carl Adams and James Richardson who are going to take the 2nd and 3rd positions through turn number 1. Ricky Stevenson on the outside lane, Jack Lagasee on the inside, and of course the inside lane is the place to be here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. And if you're on that inside lane, especially late in the going in a race, you should have a pretty good chance at advancing on. Remember, the top 5 from each heat race advance on to round number 2. James Richardson, 3 wide for the lead here in heat race number 1. Number 38 to the inside of the 04, and Ricky Stevenson up to 2nd in the number 38, but it's going to be James Richardson who leads lap number 1 here in heat race number 1 in round number 1. Here comes Jack Lagasee. I believe he is the brother to Al Lagasee, who currently drives in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. He's going to go 3 wide to the lead and take it away from Stevenson and Richardson. Number 22, Clarence Edwards, moving his way through the field. And here comes the 88 of Dale Salzmann. Remember what I said, he is the most experienced driver in this heat race. The rest of these guys are relatively new drivers. Of course, we got a lot of veteran drivers in the event. But for this first heat race, we got a lot of newer drivers. And Dale Salzmann is the most experienced driver in this race. He's going to fall to the outside, though, in the number 88. We're coming to the white flag here in heat race number 1 in round number 1. Jack Lagasee in the number 44 is going to lead it with 1 lap to go. Clarence Edwards trying to take the lead away from the 44. Now, winning a heat race does not signify anything, because the starting order for round number 2 in their heat races, and the heat races in round number 2, I should say, they are not determined by any previous results. They are just randomized like they are in these heat races. So winning doesn't really mean much. As long as you finish in the top 5, you're good to go. Here comes the 88 of Dale Salzmann. He found his way back to the inside, and he's going to get to the inside of Clarence Edwards and take the lead. And Jack Lagasee has fallen outside the top 5, which means that he is not going to advance on past round number 1. He's going to have to go to the last chance qualifier. Dale Salzmann wins heat race number 1. Daniel Bouchard, Clarence Edwards, Aidan Shepherd, and the 75 of Derek Hamill advance on in this heat race. They will all be in round number 2. As for Cody Sill, Jack Lagasee, Carl Adams, Ricky Stevenson, and James Richardson, they're going to have to go to the first last chance qualifier race if they're going to have a chance at winning the NRLOA Big One III. Of course, remember, last year, Cookie Helms won the NRLOA Big One III, and he was in the first last chance qualifier race. But anyways, there are the official results here in heat race number 1. Top 5 advance on the round number 2. Bottom 5 go to the last chance qualifier race. And I think it's pretty simple from there. You guys should understand how that whole system works. So Salzmann, Bouchard, Clarence Edwards, Shepherd, and Hamill advance on. Adams, Sill, Lagasee, Stevenson, and Richardson are going to the last chance qualifier race. Anyways, that was heat race number 1. We still got 7 more to go. Let's get the heat race number 2 and round number 1 here in the NRLOA Big One III. And here we are for heat race number 2 in the NRLOA Big One III round number 1. Top 5 from this heat race advance on the round number 2. Everybody else, the bottom 5 I should say, have to go to the last chance qualifier race. Anyways, Garrett Pittre, number 29, his first start in quite a while here on Napa Fan. He's starting alongside the 2017 Indianapolis 250 champion, the number 91 of Luke Rainey. And this is Luke Rainey's first race since he won the Indianapolis 250 3 weeks ago. Annie Thomas in the number 98, starting alongside the number 15 of Ace Garcia. Row 3, the number 54 of Ryan Olson, alongside the number 32 of Cameron Gadue, who is the most experienced driver in this heat race. Hierjel Arvin Alonso is not too far behind him, however, in experience. Number 43 of Alonso, number 52 is Alexander Rowe, then the 57 of Nicolas Samudio, and the number 90 of Patrick Smith. Both of those guys making their first ever start on Napa Fan here today. Let's go ahead, get these guys to roll off for heat race number 2. It's Pittre and Rainey on the front row for this one, and remember, top 5 in each heat race advance on the round number 2. And from round number 2, I'll explain it from there. And of course, if you're not in the top 5, you go on to the last chance qualifier race, and from there, top 4 advance on out of 40 drivers. And then if you don't get past that, you're done for the day. I'm probably going to explain it in each heat race here in round number 1, because you guys are probably going to be skipping to which heat race you're going to be in. So I just want to make sure you guys know that. But anyways, I'll try not to be too obnoxious while explaining it. Heat race number 2 ready to begin here in the NRLOA Big One III round number 1. It's Pittre and Rainey on the front row. They're going to be side by side heading into turn number 1. Pittre did not get the jump like Cody Sill did in the last heat race. There goes Ryan Olson 3 wide to the inside of Annie Thomas and the 15 of Ace Garcia. Garcia's going to fall back as Pittre takes the lead away from Luke Rainey. Alonso has moved up fairly significantly in the number 43. He's going to go 3 wide to the inside of Olson and Rainey. I do not believe he's going to be able to get the run to the inside of those guys and make the pass entering turn number 3. Garrett Pittre in the number 29 is going to clear the 54, and it looks like Garrett Pittre is going to lead lap number 1 in heat race number 2 of the NRLOA Big One III. And that is exactly what's going to happen for the number 29. Ryan Olson has 1 career win on Napa Van. It came in the Dodge Throwback Series at Talladega. This is a super speedway as well. And Olson might have some success here today. Alonso for a second to the inside of Olson. Here comes the number 57 of Nicolas Samudio. And that's one of the developmental drivers for Hierjel Arvin Alonso. And he is up to the 3rd position, trying to get 3rd away from the 54. Number 90 of Patrick Smith in his first ever race. Annie Thomas on this inside lane. You see Cameron Gadue in the number 32 there on the outside. He is, like I said, the most experienced driver in this field, but Alonso also a very good driver as well. And don't be surprised if this 43 wins this thing. Pittre has led both laps so far. It's the white flag in heat race number 2. There goes Samudio to the inside of Alonso. There goes Alonso to the inside of Pittre for the lead. And the last time we saw the guy who led at the white flag fail to finish in the top 5. Pittre on the outside lane there. But it does appear that he might be able to stay in the 5th position. Alonso out front in the 43 with Nicolas Samudio right behind him. Here comes Patrick Smith, Ryan Olson, Luke Rainey, and Garrett Pittre. It's going to be between those 2 drivers for the final transfer spot. And Rainey's going to take it through turn 4. Hierjel Arvin Alonso will win heat race number 2 in round 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. Annie Thomas trying to get in. Not going to be enough. It's going to be Alonso, Patrick Smith, Ryan Olson, Nicolas Samudio, and Luke Rainey, who advanced on from heat race number 2 in the NRLOA Big One III. As for Annie Thomas, Ace Garcia, Cameron Gadue, Derek Pittre and Alexander Rowe. They're going to have to go to the last chance qualifier race if they want to continue racing here today in the NRLOA Big One III. Well, that's 2 in the books. Now it's on to heat race number 3. And we'll knock out, or we actually won't knock out them quite yet. We'll knock them out in the last chance qualifier race. But we will add on 5 more drivers to round number 2. Of course, the 5 drivers that advanced on in this heat race will race with the guys who advanced on in heat race number 1 to race in the first heat race in round number 2. So yeah, hopefully you guys understand how this all works. You guys understood it pretty well last year, and you should be able to get it this year as well. Anyways, let's get to heat race number 3 here in the NRLOA Big One III, round number 1. Here we go for heat race number 3 in round number 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. And now we got some pretty high experienced drivers in this race. And the guy who's starting on the pole for heat race number 3 is the all-time winningest driver on Napa Fan, Garrett Sydnor. I don't even need to say his name along with that. You guys know that he's the all-time winningest driver on Napa Fan because I've said that like 50 million times already. But anyways, top 5 advance on to round number 2. Bottom 5 go to the last chance qualifier race. And it's as simple as that. Garrett Sydnor starting on the pole here in heat race number 3. The number 50 of Andrew Miller, his first ever start here on Napa Fan, on the outside pole of Garrett Sydnor. Number 4, Chris Skinlart starts alongside the 08, the Daytona 500 champion in season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, Cameron Garlington. And we got Sydnor, we got Garlington, and those 2 guys are very good drivers. Donovan Douthitt in the number 18 starts alongside Tyler Oriti in the number 39. Daniel McMillan in the number 89 starts alongside the number 73 of Nicolas Samudio, another very good driver, another Daytona 500 champion. We got 2 Daytona 500 champions in this heat race. Final rows, number 67 of Colin Dryburgh and the number 92 of Nick Smith. Andrew Miller, the only first-timer in this heat race. The rest of these drivers, as far as I know, all have Chick-fil-A Cup Series experience, maybe with the exception of Nick Smith. But as for the other drivers, they have had quite a bit of success in other series. And even Nick Smith, I mean, he's a champion in the ARCA series. So, a lot of experience in this heat race compared to the first 2. But this is the NRLOA Big One. I mean, we saw a first-timer win it last year, and guys like Garrett Sydnor, Cameron Garlington, you know, those more experienced drivers, not many of them advanced on to the main event that year. So we're just going to have to see how it all plays out. The pole sitter in the heat race is yet to advance on. So could get very interesting for this one. Garrett Sydnor, a great driver, but he's got a lot to do if he wants to advance on in heat race number 3, which is just taking the green flag. Sydnor is going to pull away from Andrew Miller. The number 4 of Chris Skinlart to the inside of the 50. Sydnor trying to pull away. Now, Derek Pittre led the first 2 laps in his heat race, but did not advance on. So you got to be careful not to get stuck on that outside, especially on the final lap of the race, because Derek Pittre led at the white flag. He fell back to 6th in just 1 lap. This is a 3-mile racetrack, however. Coca-Cola Super Speedway is a pretty massive venue. And there's a lot of time to fall back at this racetrack, considering how big it is. Chris Skinlart to the inside. Andrew Miller right behind him. Miller might take the lead here in the number 50, but it's Skinlart who is going to lead lap number 1. Now, it's a good thing, actually, to fall back at this time, because you still got time to move your way to the front if you cannot, yeah. You still got time to move your way back to the front. There's nothing else to say. But Garrett Sydnor, he's on the outside here, along with Cameron Garlington, the 2 most experienced drivers in this field. And that is not a good place to be if you want to advance on. Andrew Miller out front right now in the number 50. Donovan Douthitt, Daniel McMillan on this inside lane. Here comes Nicolas Samudio in the number 73. Samudio is definitely a very good driver, taking a season break from the Chick-fil-A Cup Series this season, but hope to see him return in season number 7. Definitely one of the best drivers that has ever driven in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, and he's got a good chance at advancing on here in this heat race. But it's Donovan Douthitt who will lead at the white flag in heat race number 3, round number 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. 67 on the inside. That's Colin Dryburgh to the inside of Andrew Miller. Miller is stuck on the outside lane right now. Here comes the number 92 of Nick Smith, the number 39 of Tyler Oriti. Garrett Sydnor trying to advance on. He's pushing this 39 on the inside, and that's what Garrett Sydnor wants to do. He's actually going to get a run to the inside of the 39. No, he isn't. He lost his help, and he might not advance on, but they're going to be 3 wide here, and Douthitt's going to fall back. They're 4 wide. Garrett Sydnor's going to put himself in the 5th position. Chris Skinlart might take the final transfer spot, but anyways, Colin Dryburgh will win heat race number 3. Sydnor advances on with the 92 of Nick Smith, Nicolas Samudio, and Tyler Oriti along with Colin Dryburgh. It's Dryburgh, Oriti, Samudio, Sydnor, and Nick Smith. Garrett Sydnor just got in by the skin of his teeth. He's the first pole sitter in the heat race to advance on to round number 2. As for the 50, Andrew Miller, Chris Skinlart, Daniel McMillan, Cameron Garlington, and Donovan Douthitt will all have to go to the last chance qualifier race at the end of round number 1 and finish in the top 4 if they want to continue racing here today at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. But as for the top 5, they're going to be in heat race number 2 of round number 2, and they will join the top 5 in heat race number 4 in racing in that heat race. Anyways, let's go ahead, get on to heat race number 4 here in round number 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. It's time for heat race number 4 in the NRLOA Big One III, round number 1. And how about this one, guys? The past 2 winners of this event, starting on the front row together. Aric Allmenhardt won the NRLOA Big One I. Cookie Helms won the NRLOA Big One II. And they're alongside each other to start on the front row here in heat race number 4 in round number 1. It's Allmenhardt and Cookie Helms, number 83. Gotta see who that is for a second. Get my notebook here. Apologize for that. It's Max Anderson in the number 83, alongside Caleb Hoffman in his final ever NRLOA Big One. And he'll be retiring at the end of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series in August. This will be his last run in this event. But he's also a very good driver as well, and he's got a lot of experience. Got more guys with experience. Number 31 of Jonathan King starts alongside number 42 of Zach Ryan. Zach Ryan is the only first-timer in this race. Number 74 is Jonathan Rains, who came oh so close to winning the Haas IndyCar Series Championship. He just barely lost out to Luke Rainey. He wants to get some redemption, I can tell you that much. He's got a good chance in number 74. Of course, hey, we all have a chance, don't we? You all have a chance. I mean, that's what you guys were saying in the intro. You all have a chance. Luis Torres in number 25. Then it's Blaine Keyes and Matt Dalio in the number 10, who won a Chick-fil-A Cup Series race on Wednesday at the Rockingham Speedway in his traditional Valvoline ride. He loves Valvoline, by the way, and that's why the Daytona race, the second Daytona race in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series is the Valvoline 400, and we're going to have to redo this because somebody failed to start, so hold on just a second. The official rule is that everybody has to cross the start-finish line under full power. Anything past that, the race is official. Anyways, Allmenhardt and Cookie Helms, the past 2 winners of this event, starting on the front row in their heat race. There's a possibility that neither of these guys will advance on to round number 2. Top 5 advance on the round number 2, bottom 5 to the last chance qualifier. And Allmenhardt leads the field in the number 1. Garrett Sydnor broke the streak of drivers who started on the pole not advancing to the round number 2. Sydnor barely got in. But Allmenhardt, he would like to possibly win this thing. The pole sitters in these heat races have not done too well so far. And let's have to see how Allmenhardt does in the number 1. Number 83, right behind. That car is driven by Max Anderson, Caleb Hoffman in the number 7, Jonathan King in the 31, Blaine Keyes in this inside lane. Of course, Hoffman and Dalio are probably the 2 best drivers in this heat race. A combined 34 wins between those 2 drivers. And Matt Dalio just got number 17 on Wednesday. He's going for number 18. He's going to tie Garrett Sydnor. And same with Caleb Hoffman. If either Hoffman or Dallio win today, they're going to tie Garrett Sydnor. Now, it's a slim chance that they're going to win today, but it's possible. And one thing I actually probably mentioned earlier on in the opening, each of these individual heat wins do not count towards a Napa fan win. Only winning the whole event counts towards the wins list. So just keep that in mind. If you win a heat race, it just doesn't really mean that much. And it does not determine the starting lineup for round number 2 or the last chance qualifier race. Just got to be in the top 5, and that's it. Blaine Keyes, Caleb Hoffman on this inside lane coming to the white flag in heat race number 4. Keyes is going to lead at the white flag. Here's Hoffman in the 7 going in between the 74 of Jonathan Rains and the 83 of Max Anderson. Matt Dallio on the number 10 moving his way on this inside lane, and so is the defending NRLOA Big One champion of Cookie Helms. Hoffman falling back. It's between Hoffman and Helms right now for the final transfer spot. Will Matt Dallio try to get to the inside of the 74? The number 25 going to the inside. Luis Torres looking to advance on. Both Dallio and Hoffman are on the outside. This one's going to get interesting. It's going to be between Allmenhardt and Dallio for the final transfer spot. A defending NRLOA Big One champion and a 17-time winner. Dallio is going to get it as Jonathan Rains wins his heat race here in the NRLOA Big One III round number 1. He advances on with Luis Torres, defending NRLOA Big One champion Cookie Helms. Zach Ryan in his first ever start on Napa Fan advances on along with Matt Dallio and the number 10, a 17-time winner there and a Chick-fil-A Cup Series champion. He's going to be in round number 2 along with the top 5. As for Aric Allmenhardt, Caleb Hoffman, Jonathan King, Max Anderson, and Blaine Keyes, those drivers are going to have to fall on the last chance qualifier race and finish in the top 4 if they're going to continue racing here today. Well, there's your top 5, there's your bottom 5. You could probably figure it out pretty well. Jonathan Rains, the winner of this heat race. And these top 5 guys will join the top 5 guys from heat race number 3 in heat race number 2 of round number 2. I'm throwing all these numbers around. Hopefully you understand. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to the second half of round number 1 here in the NRLOA Big One III. Heat race number 5 is next. It is time for heat race number 5 in the NRLOA Big One III round number 1. And the drivers who advance on from this heat race will race in heat race number 3 of round number 2. Top 5 advance on the round number 2. Bottom 5 go to the last chance qualifier race. Lagasee in the number 70 starts on the pole position for this heat race. Alongside him, it's the number 27 of Fisher G. He's the owner of Chip Ganassi Racing right now in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. He got a win with Cody Sill at Las Vegas, but this is his first time as a driver, starting on the outside pole here in the NRLOA Big One III heat race number 5, round number 1. I am sorry that I had to go through that much explaining on which race this was. You get it now. I'm sorry. The 0-2 is Cody Smart. He starts alongside Davey Johnson in the number 66. Both of these guys are owners in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Number 81, first ever start for Jordan Strunk. And he's going to be starting alongside the number 11 of Grayson Acevedo. First time Acevedo has driven in quite some time here on that fan. Great to have him back. Number 60, driven by Stuart Gratton, the fan favorite. And alongside him, another fan favorite, at least it should be, Alex Bonsignor in the number 40. And both these guys have quite a bit of experience, especially Stuart Gratton. This is Bonsignor's first race since mid-April in the Air Electric Pro Series. Final row, Trey Barto, another very experienced driver, starting alongside number 51 of Kelly Lee, who won in her first ever start on Napa Fan in the Great Pumpkin 500 last Halloween. So, pretty loaded field here for heat race number 5 in the NRLOA Big One III round number 1. Remember, top 5 advance on. Bottom 5 go to the last chance qualifier race. And it does appear that somebody's having an issue yet again, so that means we're going to have to reset it once again. Or are we? That could have just been a little bit of a glitch, maybe? We'll see if Fisher G starts here. And if he does not cross the start-finish line under full power, then we will reset the field. I do believe that Fisher G is going to start, however, so I think we're good to go. I thought we were going to have to reset it there, but doesn't appear to be the case. Pace car is in. Heat race number 5 is underway here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. So far, only one pole sitter in a heat race has advanced on. That's Garrett Sydnor, who advanced on in heat race number 3 after he started on the pole position for that one. Al Lagasee is going to get to the inside. The 0-2 of Cody Smart. Jordan Strunk in his first ever race in number 81. Cookie Helms, this was his first ever race last year. I'm telling you, these first-timers, they know their stuff when it comes to the NRLOA Big One. Let me just tell you that. And you might want to watch for somebody like Jordan Strunk or maybe Fisher G possibly getting the overall win here today. Al Lagasee out front in the 70. And he is going to lead lap number 1 here in heat race number 5 in round number 1. Cody Smart, number 60 of Stuart Grattan, and Trey Barto. Both of those guys in the top 5 right now. And the track you can see is shaded. That means these guys are probably going to be going a little bit faster here on the racetrack. And the faster they go, the harder it is for these guys to pass. They tend to get into a single file line, and when that happens, passing is very infrequent. Stuart Grattan trying to get to the inside of the 70, not able to do so. Trey Barto still in the top 5. Here comes the 11 of Grayson Acevedo moving his way into the top 5. Barto's going for second. He's going to push Cody Smart on the outside. And Cody Smart is falling outside the top 5. But Al Lagasee still out front. He has quite a bit of a gap between him and him and Trey Barto right now. And Al Lagasee looking pretty strong in the number 70. Will he lead every single lap in this heat race? Trey Barto still in the top 5 along with the 11. Stuart Grattan hanging on. Here comes the 51 of Kelly Lee. Let's just see how this all shakes out. Looks like Cody Smart's not going to advance on the round number 2 just yet. Of course, there is the last chance qualifier race, and you never know when one of these guys could advance on from there. But if you're not in the top 5 here, your chances of advancing on are slim. Stuart Grattan's going to fall outside the top 5 late in the going here. He got stuck in the outside lane. That's going to give the final transfer spot to Davey Johnson in the number 66. A tough one there for Grattan. Al Lagasee goes flag to flag in heat race number 5. He advances on along with Trey Barto, Grayson Acevedo, Kelly Lee, and Davey Johnson. Those 5 drivers will be racing in heat race number 3 in round number 2. As for Fisher G, Alex Bonsignor, Jordan Strunk, Stuart Grattan, and Cody Smart, they're going to be in the last chance qualifier race later on today. But how about Al Lagasee? He really showed us how to win a race right there. He started on the pole, and he never fell from the pole in that number 70 machine. So Al Lagasee looking strong here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. And he advances on along with Barto, Acevedo, Lee, Johnson, and that's it. Rest of those guys, bottom 5, are going to be in the last chance qualifier race at the end of round number 1. Anyways, let's go ahead and get the heat race number 6 in round number 1 here in the NRLOA Big One III. Heat race number 6 is about to get underway. The top 5 advance on the round number 2 and will race in heat race number 3 along with the top 5 that advanced on in heat race number 5 of round number 1. Bottom 5 go to the last chance qualifier race. I've explained that a lot today, but I want to make sure you guys know, especially considering that you guys might not be watching every single heat race, you might just be skipping to the heat race you are in. So that's why I keep on mentioning it. If you're watching through the whole thing, I'm sorry, but I'm just preparing for those guys who are kind of skipping ahead to see which heat race they are in. Anyways, Tristan Allen in the number 2 starts in the pole for heat race number 6. Alongside him is the number 95 of Griffin Lynn. Row number 2, Elijah Gordon. He held the WRLA 500 right here yesterday. I'm not sure how that went yet, but I'm sure it was a great race, and a lot of the cars from that race are in today's race as well. Recycling cars between 2 leagues that really get along together. It's good to see the world get along together. Anyways, Noah Cars, I do believe, is to the outside of him in the number 41. He is. It is Noah Cars. Eli Bright in the number 9. Adam Lewis in the number 9. Eli Bright's in the number 8. Number 24 is Josh Crash. Eli Bright's in the number 8. Number 13 is Julio Caesar. Then it's the 07 of Michael Kelly, his first ever start as a driver here on Napa Van. His driver, Marty Johnson, won the Mello Yellow Smooth Fest at the beginning of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series Season 6. And then it's William Johnston rounding out the field for heat race number 6 here in round 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. And it does appear that we had an issue. Elijah Gordon did not get going, so we'll reset it so that he can start along with the rest of the field. And we're ready to get heat race number 6 started here in round 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. Tristan Allen and Griffin Lynn on the front row. Elijah Gordon, Noah Cars in row number 2. Noah Cars is another one of those fan favorite drivers, driving the number 41. I'm just going to have to see how it all shakes out here in heat race number 6. Top 5 advance on the round number 2. And the bottom 5 go to the last chance qualifier race. Pace car is off. We're racing in heat 6 of round 1. Tristan Allen in the number 2 has never won a Chick-fil-A Cup Series race before, but he's got 10 wins on this channel. He's a very successful driver. And we'll just see if he's successful later today. Griffin Lynn, Noah Cars, and Elijah Gordon, they're single file throughout the top 5. Noah Cars with help from Elijah Gordon on this inside lane right here. Elijah Gordon drove that 77 in the WRLA 500 yesterday. We'll just see what he can do today in the NRLOA Big One. He's going to get to the inside of Eli Bright. He's moving his way up. Number 2, Tristan Allen still out front. Lagasee went flag to flag in heat race number 5. We'll see if Tristan Allen can do the same here in heat race number 6. He's going to lead lap number 1. Elijah Gordon on this inside lane with help from the number 9 of Adam Lewis. Right behind Lewis, it is the number 07 of Michael Kelly. And behind Kelly, it's William Johnston. Both of those guys started on the final row. Elijah Gordon is moving his way through the field very well right now on this number 77, but he does not want anybody to get to the inside of him. And you know what? That's exactly what's going to happen. No help for Elijah Gordon right now as Adam Lewis goes 3 wide for the lead, heading him to turn number 3. They're coming to the white flag here in heat race number 6. Tristan Allen falling way back into number 2. Elijah Gordon still has a chance. He can file in here, and he's going to do so. But it's Adam Lewis in the number 9 who will lead at the white flag of heat race number 6. It's Lewis, Kelly, the 13 of Julio Caesar, Elijah Gordon, and William Johnston in the transfer positions. Gordon way up high in the 77. He's going to lose his transfer position, and it's going to go to Griffin Lynn for now, but Tristan Allen in the number 2 still has a chance, and Elijah Gordon, if he could have cleared Josh Crash there, he would have had a chance, but nothing doing for the number 77 right now. Looks like he's going to have to go to the last chance qualifier. Adam Lewis stuck on the outside. He's going to fall outside the top 5, and now the number 2 of Tristan Allen is in the transfer position. Josh Crash and Michael Kelly. It's going to be between those two drivers while we're side by side for the lead in this heat race. Julio Caesar, William Johnston. I have no clue who won that thing, but I do know this. Johnston, along with Caesar, the 95 of Griffin Lynn, Tristan Allen, and Josh Crash, advance on the round number 2 in the NRLOA Big One III. As for the 07 of Michael Kelly, Noah Cars, Adam Lewis, Elijah Gordon, and Eli Bright, they're going to have to go to the last chance qualifier race. William Johnston scored the winner in heat race number 6. How about that? Now, that isn't an official finish of an event. If this happened in the main event, that would count as an official finish, but it's not. So when we do the top 25 closest finishes of 2017 at the end of the year, unfortunately, that one's not going to be included because it's just a heat race to a bigger event. But William Johnston, Julio Caesar, Griffin Lynn, Tristan Allen, and Josh Crash advance on the round number 2, and they will be racing in heat race number 3 of round number 2 later on today. As for Michael Kelly, Noah Cars, Adam Lewis, Elijah Gordon, and Eli Bright, they are going to go to the last chance qualifier race. Let's go ahead and get to heat race number 7 here in the NRLOA Big One III. And it's time now for heat race number 7. Only 2 more heat races left here in round number 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. And as always, top 5 advance on the round number 2, bottom 5 to the last chance qualifier race. Isaac Nichols in the number 48 starts on the pole for heat race number 7. Alongside him, it's Garrett Pick. It's been a long time since Pick has raced here on NAPAFAN, but he is back and driving at number 55 here in the NRLOA Big One III. Number 33 is William Brock. It's been a while since he's raced as well. He's alongside the number 12 of Igor Barreto. We got the number 61 of Darlin Kenyon starting alongside the 01 of Molly Wilson. Molly Wilson, this is her first ever start here on Napa Fan. Number 17 of Julius Anderson starts alongside the 36 of John Andrews. The 06 of Max Neuwirth starting alongside Ryan Madden in the number 78. Max Neuwirth is a very good driver in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, taking a break like Nicolas Samudio. Look forward to seeing Max Neuwirth race in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series yet again. Anyways, he's here for the NRLOA Big One III. And, as always, top 5 advance on. Bottom 5 to the last chance qualifier race. It's as simple as that. Isaac Nichols in number 48. When the Aero Electric Pro Series came here back in, I believe it was March, he barely got beat out by Nicolas Samudio at the line in that event. Of course, for Isaac Nichols, he hopes that does not happen here today. He hopes that he's in victory lane at the end of the day in that number 48 machine. But anyways, the pace car will pull off, and we're ready to get heat race number 7 in round number 1 of the NRLOA Big One III started. Isaac Nichols, Garrett Pick, we're underway yet again. And Nichols has the advantage right now. The number 33 of William Brock's on this inside lane. Right behind him, it's the 61 of Darlin Kenyon. But Nichols is going to stay out front, but I think Brock's going to get around him here. Brock with a great run in the 33. Got a great draft through the corner. He has help behind him with the 61 of Kenyon and Max Neuwirth in the 06. William Brock trying to get to the inside of Isaac Nichols. I believe he's going to be able to pull it off. Yes, barely. To the inside of the 48 of Isaac Nichols for the lead, and William Brock's going to take it away. So William Brock is going to lead lap number 1 in heat race number 7. Neuwirth going 3 wide in the 06. To the inside of Kenyon and Nichols. Ryan Madden in the 78 is also here on this inside lane. And these guys are bunched up here up front. William Brock's going to get passed here by Max Neuwirth. And Neuwirth started on the final row along with Ryan Madden in only a 1.5 laps. They have worked their way to the front. Number 17 of Julius Anderson on this inside lane with John Andrews behind him in the number 36. But it's Max Neuwirth out front in the number 06. And Neuwirth is going to stay out front for now. But here comes Julius Anderson in the 17. If I'm not mistaken, Julius Anderson won here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway in the HERS Elimination Series. Neuwirth will barely lead it at the white flag, but here comes Molly Wilson, John Andrews, and Julius Anderson. Right now, it's Anderson, Andrews, Wilson, Neuwirth, and the 12 of Igor Barreto just moved his way into the top 10, top 5, or they're all in the top 10, of course. But Igor Barreto in the top 5. Remember, the top 5 advance on. Looks like John Andrews in the 36 is going to take the lead away from Julius Anderson. Anderson's going to fall back 3 wide on the outside. Here comes Garrett Pick. Neuwirth is right now in the top 5, but here comes the 61 of Darlin Kenyon. It looks like John Andrews will win this heat race. The final transfer position goes to Max Neuwirth in the 06. Max Neuwirth along with Garrett Pick, Igor Barreto, Molly Wilson, and John Andrews advance on the round number 2 in the NRLOA Big One III. Darlin Kenyon, Ryan Madden, William Brock, Isaac Nichols, and Julius Anderson will all have to go to the last chance qualifier race. John Andrews gets the win here in heat race number 7. They're the official standings of the race. I already explained it. You know where those guys are going. Of course, the top 5 that advance on here, they're going to heat race number 4 of round number 2. So yeah, I think that's all you need to know for this one. One more heat race to go in round number 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. And the final 10 drivers are going to battle it out to see if they can advance on to round number 2. Let's get to heat race number 8 here in the NRLOA Big One III, round number 1. And we are here for the final heat race in round number 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. The top 5 advance on the round number 2. The bottom 5 go to the last chance qualifier race, which will be right after heat race number 8, right here in round number 1. Anyways, the guys that advance on in this heat race will race in heat race number 4 of round number 2. And I think it's as simple as that. So here we go. Richard Kinghart on the pole in the 00 alongside him. The 49 of Matt Hamill, the brother to Derek Hamill. Row 2, the 46 of Annie Lynch. And if you're wondering where Jesse Turner is, he's not in this race because he allowed one of his developmental drivers of Annie Lynch to drive, and that's Turner's driver right there, Annie Lynch in the number 46, starting alongside the number 5 of Marty Johnson. Number 37, I believe that was Marty Johnson's ride last year. That's Dane Ammon in the number 37, starting alongside the number 20 of Matthew Phillips. Number 6, that car is driven by Jordan Lopez, who won the Thanksgiving 500 here last year, starting alongside the number 97 of Matt Tuck. Seth Cole, his first race in quite a while here. Most of you guys should probably know him. Number 45, starting alongside the 16 of Jay Jefferson. That rounds out the field for heat race number 8, the final heat race in round number 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. Kinghart and Matt Hamill in the number 49. This is Matt Hamill's first ever start. And I think Annie Lynch has made a couple of starts before. I just cannot remember where they have been. She might have made a start in the first NRLOA Big One. I don't know if she made a start in last year's or not. But as you can tell, her car is a little low on the graphics there compared to the others. But you know what? There's not much I can really do about that. I have no idea who that 46 is anyway. I mean, I got all these cars off of Team SBR about like 13 months ago. And I must have gotten the low-quality version of the 46 because that looks kind of bad. But you know what? Annie Lynch is not a bad driver, and I'll just have to see what she does. But anyways, Kinghart and Matt Hamill on the front row. Kinghart has the inside lane. That's exactly where you want to be here at this racetrack. Here comes the 46 to the inside of Matt Hamill. Annie Lynch is going to get a run to the inside of the 00 as well. And here comes the 37 of Dane Ammon. Dane Ammon, a very good driver. I'm pretty sure he was in this race the first time around. And he might have been in this race last year as well. I can't quite remember, but Dane Ammon taking the lead away from Annie Lynch. And here comes the 6 of Jordan Lopez. Lopez gets around this racetrack very well. He won in his first ever start right here at this very racetrack. Seth Cole started in the final row. He's got Marty Johnson pushing him. And if it weren't for Seth Cole, I wouldn't know Marty Johnson. But Seth Cole's going to take the lead away with help from Marty Johnson. Here comes the number 20 of Matthew Phillips. This is Phillips' first ever start here in F1. He's the owner of RCR in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Jay Jefferson on this inside lane in pole sitter. Richard Kinghart trying to get on this inside as well. Seth Cole trying to get the outside lane to work. The number 5 in the middle. The number 20 taking the lead. Matthew Phillips with Jay Jefferson behind him. A lot of passing going on right now in this heat race. We're just going to have to see how it all shakes out here on this final lap. Matthew Phillips will lead it at the white flag of heat race number 8 in round 1 of the NRLOA Big One III. Jefferson not able to get alongside the 20, and Phillips is going to stay out front. The pole sitter, Richard Kinghart, moving his way on the inside lane. Number 6 here of Jordan Lopez, Marty Johnson, and Annie Lynch side by side for the final transfer position. Lynch is going to try to make it 3 wide to the inside of Lopez and Marty Johnson, and she is going to get the advantage. On Lopez at least. Marty Johnson's going to stay in the top 5, and we might be side by side at the line again. Richard Kinghart side by side with Jay Jefferson. It's going to be Jay Jefferson who wins heat race number 8. And it's going to be Richard Kinghart, Marty Johnson, Matthew Phillips, and Annie Lynch joining him, advancing on to round number 2 in the NRLOA Big One III. Dane Ammon, Matt Tuck, Matt Hamill, Seth Cole, and Jordan Lopez are all going to the last chance qualifier race, which is going to be right up in just a couple of minutes. The winner was Jay Jefferson in number 16. He won this heat race, but like I said, winning these heat races doesn't really matter. As long as you're in the top 5, that's basically all that matters. And he finished in the top 5, and he did what he was supposed to do. So Jay Jefferson, Richard Kingart, Marty Johnson, Matthew Phillips, Annie Lynch will join the guys who advanced on from heat race number 7 in heat race number 4 of round number 2 to race. And I think that's it for round number 1. So for Dane Allen, Jordan Lopez, Matt Tuck, Matt Hamill, Seth Cole, they're going to join the 35 other drivers who did not advance to round number 2 and battle in an 8-lap race around the Coca-Cola Super Speedway to determine which 4 drivers will still have a chance at winning the NRLOA Big One III. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we're going to return, we're going to get you that last chance qualifier race here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway.
Just get home from school, you got nothing to do? Well then, turn on your computer and listen to the NRLOA podcast, where we bring you up to date on all things all stock car racing and NASCAR, and on your local short track near you. We'll have things such as Modified and Mock Series Corner, followed by PCS Radio, WRLA, and so much more.
I think Elliott Sadler can probably win the race.
It's the NRLOA Podcast every Monday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/MaxTheHedgehog77.
And here we are, the last chance qualifier race number 1. There's going to be another one after round number 2 for those who don't advance in round number 2, but we'll get to that later on. These guys in this race did not advance past round number 1, but they still have a chance. They all have a chance to advance on to round number 2 if they can finish in the top 4 for this race. Top 4 finishers of this last chance qualifier race will be in round number 2. The winner will be in heat race number 1. Second place finisher will be in heat race number 2. Third place finisher will be in heat race number 3. And the fourth place finisher will be in heat race number 4 for round number 2. As for everybody else, if you do not finish in the top 4 for this race, you are done for the day and done until next year in the NRLOA Big One. Go ahead, get these guys to roll off, and the starting lineup will roll on the bottom of your screen. It's Annie Thomas and the number 98 starting on the pole for this last chance qualifier event. Number 6 of Jordan Lopez alongside her. Jack Lagasee in the number 44 starts alongside Alexander Rowe in the number 53. I do believe that Alexander Rowe drives the number 53. And he, in fact, does not drive the 53, drives the 52. And that is the 52, not the 53. Can't see things. Ryan Madden, the 78, starts alongside Matt Hamill in the number 49. Michael Kelly in the 07, the number 50 of Andrew Miller, the top 10 starting positions, top 8, excuse me. We got one more row to get the top 10. That's Darlin Kenyon and Donovan Douthitt. The NRLOA Big One I champion was Aric Allmenhardt in the number 1. Wasn't in the number 1 in that race, but he drives the number 1 here for the 3rd edition of this event. And you see him and where he starts. And got a lot of good drivers back in the field here, and back in the field might be where you want to start. 8 laps here for this last chance qualifier, and it's going to be very interesting to see which 4 of these drivers can stay alive here in the NRLOA Big One III and advance on to round number 2. Annie Thomas, Jordan Lopez. Both of these are very good drivers. Lopez, he won here in the Thanksgiving 500 last year. And Annie Thomas, I believe she might be a 10-time winner on Napa Fan. But as for some of the guys starting behind them, a lot of them making their first ever start here today on this channel, like Jack Lagasee and Andrew Miller, along with Matt Hamill as well. We got a lot of first-timers in this last chance qualifier. We'll just have to see how it all shakes out. Pace cars off for racing in the first last chance qualifier race in the NRLOA Big One III. Top 4 advance on.
Now I'm smiling from the stage while you were clapping in the nosebleed.
Already 3 wide. Ryan Madden is not wasting any time to the inside of Jack Lagasee and Alexander Rowe for the 3rd position. And he's going to get a run to the inside of Jordan Lopez as well, but it's Annie Thomas in the number 98 staying out front. Number 07 also on this inside lane. You see them shifting lanes back in there. Michael Kelly in the 07 is going to get to the inside of Madden and Thomas for the lead. And Michael Kelly is going to take the lead away. So Michael Kelly, the leader, the 78 of Ryan Madden's going to fall back. Andy Thomas as well. And you see them, they're 3 wide throughout most of this field. This race is the most we'll have. This race has the most drivers that we will have in a race here today in the NRLOA Big One III. The biggest field today with 40 drivers. The next highest will be 22, being in the finale race, the main event, later on tonight. Darland Kenyon has taken the lead. Carl Adams right behind him. Isaac Nichols and Jonathan King moving their way on this inside. Jordan Strunk, I should say, not Jonathan. On this inside lane in the number 81, Andy Thomas found her way back to the inside. That's good news for her. If he can stay on that inside lane, got a good chance at advancing on. Alex Bonsignor on this inside lane. Ricky Stevenson as well. We're just going to have to see how it all shakes out. I mean, it's a long race here. For the Coca-Cola Super Speedway race, it's pretty long because you can work your way to the back, from the back to the front in 8 laps just fine. But for these guys running up front, they might not necessarily stay up there. Carl Adams led lap number 2. Here comes Michael Kelly to the inside for the lead, and Michael Kelly found his way back to the lead. That's good news for Kelly. Jonathan King, Annie Thomas, she started on the pole. And here she is with help on this inside lane. She might get a run to the inside of Kelly. We're just going to have to see. No, Michael Kelly closes the door on Annie Thomas. That was a very bold move by the 07. But Kelly is going to be able to hold the lead and lead his second lap in this last chance qualifier race. Here comes Alex Bonsignor. Remember, only the top 4 advance on, not the top 5, just the top 4 drivers. And if you're not in the top 4 at the end of this race, you are done for the day. Matt Hamill in the number 49 in this inside lane. Ricky Stevenson, here comes the 83 of Max Anderson. Matt Tuck is also on this inside lane. He was very quiet in his heat race. Really, I don't think we mentioned him at one time in his heat race. That was heat race number 8. Caleb Hoffman on this inside lane. Andrew Miller and Julius Anderson. And I keep on focusing on that inside lane. That's where you want to be here at this racetrack. Annie Thomas, she started on the pole. She's going to lead lap number 4 here in the last chance qualifier race. Eli Bright, Jonathan King has stayed in this top 4 for quite a while. He's looking very strong. Alex Bonsignor currently holds onto the final transfer spot. They're 4 wide back in there. Matt Hamill falls back. And it looks like all 40 drivers are still in this race. Don't believe we've had a crash yet in this last chance qualifier. Last year, we had a crash. But, as I mentioned at the intro, there are no cautions in any of the races here today. And we just keep on racing even if the biggest of crashes happens. Eli Bright is now out front in the number 8. The number 27 of Fisher G is on this inside lane. Alex Bonsignor is in the top 4 right now. He's going for second to the inside of Jonathan King. He might get a run to the inside of Eli Bright. He's not going to do so. It's 3 laps to go in the first last chance qualifier race. If you do not advance on from here, you are out for the rest of the day. Matt Tuck's moving his way on this inside lane with Andrew Miller, Julius Anderson, Blaine Keyes, Daniel McMillan. He's got to be on that inside lane, and you're going to have a chance. Eli Bright is still out front in the number 8. If you win, you're going to be in heat race number 1 in round number 2. If you're second, you're going to be in heat race number 2. Third is going to be heat race number 3. And fourth is going to be heat race number 4. Pretty simple. Andrew Miller trying to get to the inside of Matt Tuck, but I believe Tuck is going to clear him. He should have cleared him, but he did not. And Tuck's going to fall outside the top 4 with 2 laps to go. Eli Bright is still here. Max Anderson in second. Alex Bonsignor is going to lose third. Or is he? I think he might get the run here. He will. Bonsignor is going to stay in the 3rd position. Matt Tuck can clear Andrew Miller right now. And Matt Tuck's now in the top 4 as well. White flag next time by here in the last chance qualifier. In the NRLOA Big One III, Max Anderson has gotten around the 8 of Eli Bright. It's Alex Bonsignor, Matt Tuck in this inside lane here. Bonsignor trying to take the lead on the final lap of the race. Anderson leads at the white flag. Top 4 advance. Bonsignor has taken the lead in the number 40. If you get stuck in the outside lane now, you're not going to advance on, and that is what's happening to Max Anderson. He fell back to 5th through that corner. Fisher G with a chance in the 27. Blaine Keyes is right now in the top 4. We got a lot of veteran drivers right now in the transfer spots. But here comes Fisher G, Eli Bright as well. Bonsignor stuck on the outside. This could get interesting. It's going to be between Bonsignor and Eli Bright. Will Bonsignor get the run on the outside, or will Bright take it? Matt Tuck, Andrew Miller, and Fisher G will advance. Eli Bright steals it away from Alex Bonsignor as Andrew Miller wins the last chance qualifier race here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Bonsignor just barely got beat out by Eli Bright. It's going to be Andrew Miller, Matt Tuck, Fisher G, and Eli Bright, the 4 drivers that advance on. As for everybody else, their days are complete here at Massachusetts. The tough one for Bonsignor. He was running in that top 4 most of this race. Could not get it done. Andrew Miller gets the win. He will be in heat race number 1 of round number 2. Matt Tuck was second. He will be in heat race number 2 of round number 2. Fisher G was third. He'll be in heat race number 3 of round number 2. And Eli Bright will be in heat race number 4 of round number 2. Andrew Miller gets the win. Matt Tuck, Fisher G, and Eli Bright advance on. And round 2 is ready to begin here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. So drivers that advanced on the round number 2 automatically in the first 2 heat races will be in heat race number 1. The drivers who advanced on from heat race 3 and 4, they will be in heat race number 2 of round number 2. Drivers who advanced on from heat race 5 and 6 in round number 1 will be in heat race number 3 of round number 2. And drivers that advanced on from heat races 7 and 8 in round number 1 will be racing in heat race number 4 of round number 2. From there, the top 5 in each of those heat races advances on to the main event, and those who did not advance on will race in another last chance qualifier race to determine the final 2 positions for the main event in the NRLOA Big One III. Anyways, congratulations to Andrew Miller, Matt Tuck, Fisher G, and Eli Bright. After this commercial break, we'll be back for round number 2 of the NRLOA Big One III. And there are the rest of the official standings for the last chance qualifier race for your reference.
Like a seasoned driver behind the wheel, Hers chips take you from caution flag levels of hunger to checkered flag feelings of satisfaction. When it comes to race day snacks, the signature crunch and endless flavors of Hers leaves the competition in a pile of chip dust. Don't settle for anything less than the champions of the chip aisle. Hers, forever good. Available at Menards.
Feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder.
And round number 2 is ready to begin here in the NRLOA Big One III. We have 4 heat races, 5 laps apiece, and the top 5 from each heat race will advance on to the main event of the NRLOA Big One III. The bottom 6 go to the second last chance qualifier race, and in that last chance qualifier race, the top 2 will advance on to the main event. Everybody else will be knocked out. But anyways, a 5-lap race here for heat race number 1. And here is the starting lineup. Ryan Olson starts on the pole in the number 54. Alongside him, it's the number 91 of Luke Rainey. We got Aidan Shepherd and Derek Hamill in row number 2. Hierjel, Arvin, Alonso, and Dale Salzmann, the 2 most experienced drivers in the field, start alongside each other in row number 3. Row 4 is Patrick Smith and the 22 of Clarence Edwards. We got the 57 of Nicolas Samudio and the 0 of Daniel Bouchard. And the guy who won the last chance qualifier race just a moment ago, that was Andrew Miller, automatically starts in the final position in the number 50. Let's go ahead, get these guys to roll off for heat race number 1 in round number 2 of the NRLOA Big One III. And if you finish in the top 5 in these heat races, you will be in the main event fighting for the overall title in the NRLOA Big One III. The chance is greater for these guys now. And now that we're down to about half of the field that we started with earlier today, These guys are inching closer to winning that title. Anyways, Ryan Olson, Luke Rainey on the front row. Everybody rolls off, so we're going to get this one started. Pace car is going to pull off. I'm ready to get heat race number 1 of round number 2 started. Ryan Olson, Luke Rainey. The green flag is out in the air. And we're racing in round 2 of the NRLOA Big One III. Number 54, Ryan Olson on the inside. Andrew Miller wasting no time in the number 50. Remember last year, Cookie Helms advanced on through the first last chance qualifier race. The same thing happened with Andrew Miller. And if Miller can advance on here, he might have a good chance at winning the main event. Aidan Shepherd to the inside of Ryan Olson for the lead. But the only thing that matters is if you finish in the top 5. Doesn't matter if you win the race or not. As long as you're in the top 5, you are in the main event. Number 90, Patrick Smith to the inside of Hierjel, Arvin, Alonso, Luke Rainey, and Ryan Olson. And the number 90 is going to take third, but it's going to be Aidan Shepherd who leads lap number 1 here in heat race number 1 of round 2. Patrick Smith to the inside of the 75. Derek Hamill running in the second position in that number 75. But here comes Patrick Smith, his first ever start here on NAPAFan. And he's trying to take the second position away from the 75. He is going to be able to do so. Shepherd stays out front in the number 26, but here comes the number 90. He's got drafting help from Andrew Miller, who started last in this race, and Nicolas Samudio in his first ever start. Got 3 first-timers on this inside lane right now. And there goes Miller, 3 wide to the inside of Smith and Shepherd. And the number 50 is going to take the lead, but Nicolas Samudio is going to try to get to the inside of him and take the lead away from the 50. Derek Hamill found his way back to the inside. Clarence Edwards is on this inside lane along with Luke Rainey and Ryan Olson, the front row starters. Bouchard in the 0 also up here in the number 0 machine. But I believe he's going to stay on the inside lane and stay in the top 5 for now. It's a 5-lap race for each of these heat races, so a little bit longer than they were in round number 1. There's more time to work your way up front, but there's also more time to mess it all up. We have not seen a crash yet in today's event, but we might see a crash once we get under the lights. These guys can't really control this racetrack under the lights as well as they do during the day, and it could get a little crazy in the second last chance qualifier race, which will be run under the lights, and in the main event. Nicolas Samudio still out front. Right now, it's Samudio, Bouchard, Edwards, Rainey, and it's going to be Olson as he gets around Derek Hamill for the 5th position, who would advance on to the main event if they finished where they are currently running. But right now, there's still a lot of time left, and the top 5 right now, none of those guys may make it into the main event. You just never know. These guys can get stuck on the outside very quickly. Luke Rainey in the 91 had a chance to get to the inside of Clarence Edwards. Only he's going to get stuck on the outside here as the 54 of Ryan Olson goes to the inside. And Daniel Bouchard is taking the lead on lap 4. He's going to take the white flag in heat race number 1 of round number 2. Top 5 advance on to the main event. Bouchard, Ryan Olson, side by side for the lead. Ryan Olson started on the pole. Will Olson get it done? He's got help from Aidan Shepherd. Hierjel, Arvin, Alonso in the 43. Probably the best driver in this field is moving his way. He's in the top 5 right now. Clarence Edwards also here in the 22. He's going to push Alonso on the inside lane. And that's going to push Andrew Miller possibly outside the top 5, and it will. Ryan Olson still out front in the 54. Now Alonso stuck on the outside. Clarence Edwards is going to move his way into the top 5. And it looks like Dale Salzmann's going to take the final transfer spot. Ryan Olson will win heat race number 1 in round number 2. Aidan Shepherd, Daniel Bouchard, Clarence Edwards, and Dale Salzmann advance on to the main event. Alonso had a chance. He fell just outside of the transfer position. And he's going to have to bank on the last chance qualifier race if he still wants to have a chance at winning the NRLOA Big One III. Same with Nicolas Samudio, Derek Hamill, Patrick Smith, Andrew Miller, and Luke Rainey. All of those guys fail to advance on for now, but they still have a chance in the last chance qualifier race. But Ryan Olson from the pole gets it done in heat race number 1 of round number 2. He advances on to the main event along with Aidan Shepherd, Daniel Bouchard, Clarence Edwards, and Dale Salzmann. And Hierjel, Arvin, Alonso, Nicolas Samudio, Patrick Smith, Luke Rainey, Derek Hamill, and Andrew Miller will be in the last chance qualifier race. Let's go ahead and get to heat race number 2 of round number 2 here in the NRLOA Big One III. And now it's time for heat race number 2 in round number 2 of the NRLOA Big One III. And 11 more drivers take to the racetrack to see if they can make it into the main event for the NRLOA Big One. Top 5 advance on to the main event. Bottom 6 go to the last chance qualifier race. It's as simple as that. Luis Torres in the number 25 starts on the pole for this heat race alongside Tyler Oriti in the number 39. Defending NRLOA Big One champion Cookie Helms starts third alongside the 74 of Jonathan Rains. Matt Dallio in the number 10 starts alongside Nicolas Samudio in the number 73. Garrett Sydnor in the number 30 alongside Zach Ryan in the 42. The 67 of Colin Dryburgh alongside the 92 of Nick Smith. And number 97 of Matt Tuck advanced on through the first last chance qualifier race. He will start in the back of the field automatically. Let's go ahead and get these guys to roll off for heat race number 2 and round number 2 of the NRLOA Big One III. Top 5 advance on to the main event. And we got a lot of good drivers in this heat race. Cookie Helms, the defending champion of this event. Matt Dallio, a Chick-fil-A Cup Series champion. Nicolas Samudio, a Daytona 500 champion. Garrett Sydnor, the all-time winningest driver on Napa Fan. For now, if Matt Dallio were to win today's event, Matt Dallio would tie Garrett Sydnor. Also got Matt Tuck back in there in the number 97. Not the best of drivers, but definitely a very good one in the number 97. All these drivers are really good. Jonathan Rains did a fantastic job in the IndyCar series. And just never know who's going to get it done. Number 92 of Nick Smith, also a good driver. He's an ARCA series champion. Back from 2016. Pace car's going to pull off. Luis Torres, Tyler Oriti. They're side by side. And we're back to racing here in the NRLOA Big One III. And to Matt Tuck, I'm not trying to say you're a bad driver. You just don't have as many wins as Garrett Sydnor and Matt Dallio. So you're not as good as they are, if you know what I mean. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, man. I'm real sorry. Luis Torres is going to take the lead away from Tyler Oriti. Here comes Matt Dallio already in the number 10. He is wasting no time working his way up front, but he does not really have anybody behind him. Colin Dryburgh and Matt Tuck are trying to get there. Luis Torres is going to stay out front in the number 25. 5 laps of action in each of these heat races. Top 5 advance on to the main event. Matt Dallio up to the second position right behind Luis Torres. Colin Dryburgh in the 67 up to third. Tyler Oriti, and I believe the defending NRLOA Big One champion of Cookie Helms currently runs in the 5th position in the final transfer spot. Luis Torres is going to be passed by Matt Dallio here on lap 2 of 5. And Dallio's going to take the lead away from Luis Torres. Torres is going to fall back on the outside here. You now want to get stuck on that outside lane, especially through the corners. Down the straightaways, the outside lane can sometimes work. But through the corners, it is just not the place to be at all. Colin Dryburgh up to second. Tyler Oriti in third. Cookie Helms moving his way up in the number 23. He's the defending winner of this race. He wants to defend his title in this event. Jonathan Rains currently holds on to the final transfer spot, I should say. The number 92 trying to move his way up. Nick Smith with help from Matt Tuck. And the 73 of Nicolas Samudio. But out front, it is still Matt Dallio in the number 10, who still leads here in heat race number 2 of round number 2 in the NRLOA Big One III. Jonathan Rains to the inside of Tyler Oriti, and this is looking a lot like the Haas IndyCar Series now. It's going to be Jonathan Rains and Matt Dallio 1-2, and these two guys were battling for the championship all season long in the Haas IndyCar Series. But in the end, they were bested by Luke Rainey, who won the Indianapolis 250. Now, Luke Rainey did not advance on in his heat race. He's going to have to go to the second last chance qualifier. But these two guys who had a lot of success in the IndyCar Series are, well, they were 1-2, but they're now stuck on the outside, 3 wide. Dallio's going to fall back. Jonathan Rains trying to clear Matt Tuck. Not able to do so, and Matt Tuck has just taken the lead in the number 97. Dallio falls way back to the last position in the number 10 in just 1 lap. After he was leading a lap before, he has fallen back to the end of the field. He still has a chance, however, as there's still one lap to go after this one is complete. Matt Tuck, Nicolas Samudio, Luis Torres, Garrett Sydnor, and Zach Ryan are currently in the transfer positions. It's the white flag in heat race number 2 of round number 2 in the NRLOA Big One III. Matt Tuck, who advanced on from the last chance qualifier race, leads it at the white flag. Garrett Sydnor is going to get stuck in the outside here, and so is Nicolas Samudio. Matt Tuck continues to lead in the number 97, and the battle is on for the final transfer spot between Nick Smith and Garrett Sydnor. The 74 of Jonathan Rains goes to the inside. Sydnor is not going to advance on from here, or is he? He might have a chance. Nicolas Samudio is going to get put 3 wide on the outside. Samudio is going to fall back as Matt Tuck, who advanced on from the last chance qualifier, is going to win heat race number 2 here in round number 2. He will advance on with Luis Torres, Nick Smith, Jonathan Rains, and Zach Ryan. And how about those 4 drivers we mentioned at the beginning? None of them advanced on. Garrett Sydnor, Cookie Helms, the defending winner of this race, Colin Dryburgh, Matt Dallio, Tyler Oriti, and Nicolas Samudio all have to go to the second last chance qualifier event if they want to race their way into the main event here in the NRLOA Big One III. But as for the top 5, Matt Tuck gets the win. The 25 of Luis Torres, Nick Smith, Zach Ryan, and Jonathan Rains, they will be in the main event for the NRLOA Big One III. There are the official standings right there. Top 5 are in the main event. Bottom 6 have to go to the last chance qualifier race, which will happen immediately following round number 2 here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Anyways, congratulations to Matt Tuck. He's the first last chance qualifier to make it into the main event here today. We'll see if some other guys can make it in as well. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to heat race number 3 in round number 2 of the NRLOA Big One III. And heat race number 3 is upon us. And we're going to put 5 more drivers in the main event at the end of this 5-lap shootout. And the bottom 6 go to the last chance qualifier race. And it's as simple as that. Kelly Lee in the number 51 starts on the pole. Alongside her, it's Josh Crash. We got the number 70 of Al Lagasee starting alongside the 09 of William Johnston. Trey Barto in the 14 starts alongside Griffin Lynn. Tristan Allen alongside the 13, I should say, of Julio Caesar. Davey Johnson in the 66 alongside Grayson Acevedo. And Fisher G advanced on from the last chance qualifier. And he's going to start in the last position for this race automatically. Of course, Matt Tuck, who advanced on from the last chance qualifier as well, won heat race number 2, so it's possible to win from back there, as Matt Tuck showed us just a couple moments ago. But it's Kelly Lee in the number 24 on the front row, and Josh Crash driving the number 24 machine on the outside. Trey Barto, the most experienced driver in the field right now, number 14. A lot of the guys who have a lot of wins on this channel have not advanced on to the main event yet. Trey Barto might be the first of those highly experienced drivers to make it into the main event. That's what happens in the NRLOA Big One. There's just so many drivers that those higher up guys, those more household names here on this channel, they tend to kind of fall back and they just don't make it on. And that's why we ended up with Cookie Helms winning the thing last year. Anyways, pace cars pulled off. Heat race number 3 is about to begin. Kelly Lee, Josh Crash. We're green flag racing once again at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Top 5 advance on to the main event. And that's exactly what these guys are hoping to do. Kelly Lee to the inside of Josh Crash for the lead. Here comes the 70 of Al Lagasee. Trey Barto on the inside lane. The number 2 of Tristan Allen is also a very experienced driver. And he's got a chance at advancing on as well. All these guys have a chance here in this heat race. The number 70 to the inside of the 51, Al Lagasee. Here comes Trey Barto, who's going to try to make it 3 wide for the lead. No, he's going to stay behind the number 70 for now, and Al Lagasee is going to stay out front. But Trey Barto is getting a run here on the inside lane, and he has some help there on that inside lane as well. Dead heat at the line. It's going to Trey Barto, who leads lap number 1 here in heat race number 3 of round number 2. Barto out front. Here comes Davey Johnson in the 66. Johnson's going to take it, and here comes Fisher G in the 27. He started last. He's already up front in the number 27. Grayson Acevedo on this inside lane. Julio Caesar, the 95 of Griffin Lynn. Lynn's going to move up the racetrack in the 95. Don't really see many drivers do that. They want to be on that inside lane, and we've seen them move that inside lane down the backstretch quite a bit here today in this event. Davey Johnson still out front in the number 66. Grayson Acevedo, Julio Caesar, Fisher G, and Kelly Lee in the transfer positions. Johnson's going to lead lap 2 of heat race number 3 in round number 2. Trey Barto is filed in back to the inside lane in 6th. And the number 14 is getting a run on Kelly Lee and Julio Caesar in front of him. Davey Johnson still out front in the number 66 and pulling away a little bit. All these guys battling for second place. That's good news for the number 66. Fisher G to the inside of Grayson Acevedo. Trey Barto on the way inside there, trying to get to the inside of Kelly Lee. Not able to do so quite yet. Lagasee back in here in the number 70. And Trey Barto is going to take the final transfer spot away from Julio Caesar for the moment. It's going to be 2 laps to go this time by. 2 laps to go in heat race number 3 of round number 2 in the NRLOA Big One III. Fisher G to the inside of Davey Johnson for the lead. The number 51 here of Kelly Lee also getting around Davey Johnson, and Trey Barto in the number 14. He might be in the money position right now to advance on. Because nobody is behind him looking to get to the inside of him. If he gets stuck on the outside this late in the heat race, you're going to have a tough time advancing on. Davey Johnson finds the inside lane, and he might go for the lead again. Kelly Lee taking it away from Fisher G. It's Lee, Davey Johnson, Trey Barto, and Lagasee along with the 27 in the transfer spots. Kelly Lee will lead at the white flag in heat race number 3 of the NRLOA Big One III in round number 2. Trey Barto to the inside of Kelly Lee for the lead, and Davey Johnson. Trey Barto's going to take it away. Tristan Allen in the number 2 moving his way through the field. Fisher G falling back in the 27. I believe Trey Barto has this one in the bag right now. I do not believe anybody's going to get alongside him, so Trey Barto will advance on. And he is most likely going to be the all-time, or the most winningest driver in the main event here for the NRLOA Big One III. Kelly Lee up the second. The final transfer spot is between Griffin Lynn and William Johnston. And Griffin Lynn will advance on in the 95, along with Lagasee, Tristan Allen, Kelly Lee, and Heat 3 winner Trey Barto in the number 14. As for William Johnston, Josh Crash, Fisher G, Julio Caesar, Davey Johnson, and Grayson Acevedo, they're all going to have to go to the second last chance qualifier race of the day if they want to continue racing here in the NRLOA Big One III. Trey Barto gets the win in heat race number 3, and I believe that he is going to have the most wins, or he has the most wins of any driver who is going to be in the main event. Now, that is pending, of course. We still might see a map Dahlia where Garrett Sydnor advance on through the last chance qualifier. But Trey Barto definitely looking to be the most experienced driver in the main event, so you might want to watch for him once that main event rolls around. But Barto, Lee, Allen, Lagasee, and Lynn, they are locked into the main event here for the NRLOA Big One III. William Johnson, Josh Crash, Fisher G, Julio Caesar, Davey Johnson, and Grayson Acevedo have to go to the last chance qualifier race if they want to still have a shot at being the Big One champion. Anyways, let's go ahead, get to the final heat race of round number 2. Heat race number 4 here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. And we are going to conclude round number 2 here in heat race number 4 of round number 2. And we'll get 5 more drivers in the main event. The top 5 finishers go to the main event. The bottom 6 go to the last chance qualifier race, which will immediately follow this round, this heat race, I should say. Anyways, let's go ahead, get to the starting lineup. The 5 of Marty Johnson on the pole. Alongside him, it's the number 12 of Igor Barreto. Jay Jefferson and Annie Lynch in row number 2. John Andrews and Garrett Pick in row number 3. Richard Kinghart and Molly Wilson in row number 4. Max Neuwirth and the 20 of Matthew Phillips in row 5. And Eli Bright advanced on in the first last chance qualifier race. He falls back and will start in the final position automatically. But I've explained it quite a bit already. The top 5 advance on to the main event. Bottom 6 go to the last chance qualifier race. And from the last chance qualifier race, top 2 finishers in that event will move on to the main event. We'll have 22 drivers in the main event. And the main event will be 2 12-lap segments this year. Last year it was 3 10-lap segments. It's a little bit shorter this year. But it's going to definitely be very fascinating to see who gets the win in the main event later on tonight. But right now, we still got to see who's going to be in that main event. And we will determine 5 more drivers who will be in the main event in this heat race. Marty Johnson, Igor Barreto on the front row. The pace car will pull off. And the final heat race in round number 2 is going to begin right here and right now. So Marty Johnson leads the field in the number 5. Igor Barreto got a really good jump there on the start, but the inside lane's the place to be, so expect Marty Johnson to get to the inside and take it. Jay Jefferson right behind him in the number 16. Richard Kinghart in this inside lane. Max Neuwirth in the 06. Max Neuwirth is also one of those very experienced drivers. 12 wins on the channel, I do believe. And Trey Barto, basically the most experienced driver to advance on so far. The rest of these guys who have advanced on are lower key guys when it comes to the wins total. Marty Johnson's going to stay out front. Richard Kinghart going to take second as Igor Barreto fell all the way back in the number 12. You see Annie Lynch back in there in the 46. But the number 5 will lead lap 1. Marty Johnson leads lap 1 here in heat race number 4 of round number 2. Here comes the 00. Richard Kinghart to the inside of Marty Johnson for the lead. The 06 drafting right behind Max Neuwirth and Eli Bright, the guy who advanced on from the last chance qualifier on this inside lane as well. Molly Wilson in her first ever start on Napa Fan on this inside lane in the 01. Matthew Phillips as well in the 20. They're 3 wide for the lead as Eli Bright tries to get to the inside of Kinghart and Neuwirth. He's going to be able to do so, and the number 8's going to take it. It's going to be 3 laps to go in heat race number 4 and round number 2 of the NRLOA Big One right here. Marty Johnson and Igor Barreto, they started on the front row. They have fallen back to the end of this field right now. Here comes Garrett Pick and the number 55. Garrett Pick's going to get to the inside of Matthew Phillips and Eli Bright. And Pick's going to take second as Molly Wilson took the lead in the 01. Top 5 advance on to the main event. Bottom 6 go to the second of 2 last chance qualifier races that we have had here today. Already had one of them earlier on at the end of round 1. We're going to have another one at the end of round 2. Garrett Pick runs in the second position. Jay Jefferson in the 16 is going to take third away from Matthew Phillips. Annie Lynch in the 46 moving her way on this inside lane. The number 99. I'm about as far away from that number as I can possibly get, don't you think? The 00 of Richard Kinghart. And I said 99 because there was another 99 that Michael Waltrip used to drive in the Busch series. It looked just like this car, so you should understand that. Yeah, 00 and 99, that's about as far away as you can get. I mean, I don't know how I did that. But Richard Kinghart in the 00 on this inside lane here. Garrett Pick is still out front. Actually took the lead away from Molly Wilson. Matthew Phillips, Eli Bright, Annie Lynch in the top 5 right now. There's a bit of a gap between 5th and 6th for the final transfer spot. Garrett Pick has pulled out ahead in the 55, and they're side by side for the second position. It's looking good for Garrett Pick right now. Max Neuwirth trying to draft Annie Lynch and advance on. And so is Marty Johnson here in the 5. Johnson trying to get a run this inside lane here as Garrett Pick just pulls away in the 55. Matthew Phillips, Annie Lynch, Max Neuwirth, who is going to advance on to the main event of the NRLOA Big One III. It looks like the top 3 have solidified their positions. Max Neuwirth. It's going to be between Jay Jefferson and Marty Johnson for the final transfer spot. The top 4 have solidified their positions. Marty Johnson, Jay Jefferson's going to be a drag race for the final transfer spot. It's going to Jay Jefferson, who edges out Marty Johnson and will race in the main event of the NRLOA Big One III along with Max Neuwirth, Annie Lynch, Matthew Phillips, and Garrett Pick who wins heat race number 4 in round number 2. Marty Johnson just missed it. He's going to have to go to the last chance qualifier race along with Igor Barreto, Eli Bright, Molly Wilson, Richard Kinghart, and John Andrews. But as for the top 5, they're going to be in the main event for the NRLOA Big One III. And there are the official standings for heat race number 4 of round number 2, and that's going to conclude round number 2 of the NRLOA Big One III. Now it's on to the last chance qualifier race. And the top 2 in this last chance qualifier race will be in the main event. Everybody else will be done for the day here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Top 5 in the main event. Bottom 6 go to the last chance qualifier. And here is that last chance qualifier here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Who's going to advance on to the main event of the NRLOA Big One? 2 more spots are left. We'll see who takes it right now. And it is time for the second last chance qualifier race. And after this one, if you are not in the top 2 finishing positions of this event, you will be done for the rest of the night. And speaking of night, the lights are on here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway, which means things are going to get really crazy. The racetrack is a little bit slicker, and these guys are going to be sliding up the racetrack and hitting the outside wall quite a bit. They don't tend to do that during the day, but at night, it can get pretty crazy here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. 24 drivers, top 2 finishers will go to the main event. Everybody else will be done for the rest of the night. Guard's going to roll off. Starting lineup on the bottom of your screen. Patrick Smith in the 90 starts on the pole position alongside Garrett Sydnor in the number 30. Tyler Oriti in the number 39 alongside Derek Hamill in the number 75. Davey Johnson starts alongside John Andrews in row number 3. We got Molly Wilson in the 01 alongside the 57 of Nicolas Samudio, Andrew Miller, and Matt Delio in row number 5. Top 10 starting positions here for the second last chance qualifier race. Remember, there are no cautions, and if we get a crash, we just keep on racing anyway. So this thing could get very crazy here in this last chance qualifier. But this is the last chance for these 24 drivers to make it on to the main event. If they are in the top 2 finishing positions, they'll be battling along with the other 20 drivers for the win in the NRLOA Big One III. But Patrick Smith, his first ever start here on NAPAFan, starts on the pole alongside the all-time winningest driver on NAPAFan in Garrett Sydnor, the number 30. Sydnor definitely a very fast driver, but has not advanced on to the main event yet, so it just shows you how tough this event actually is. We have no idea who's going to advance on. It could be the guy starting in the final row for all we know. But we just know it's going to be crazy now that the lights are turned on here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. The track is very cool as well, which means these guys are going to be going blisteringly fast around this racetrack. That last heat race, if you saw the miles per hour, it was 241 miles per hour on average. On average. That's how fast these guys are going here in the NRLOA Big One. And it's amazing that we have not crashed yet in today's event. And I say yet. We still have 32 laps to go total in today's event. And they're all under the lights. It could get very crazy. Anyways, the pace car is pulled off. The second last chance qualifier race is green. The last chance for these 24 drivers. Three wide. Davey Johnson to the inside of Tyler Oriti and Derek Hamill, not able to do so quite yet for the number 66. Patrick Smith is going to pull away to the lead. Going to focus on Cookie Helms, the number 23. He is the defending winner of this event, and he definitely wants to defend his NRLOA Big One title. But if he does not advance on, we're going to have a new winner of this race because the other champion of the NRLOA Big One, Aric Allmenhardt, who won this event in 2015, is already out. Tyler Oriti to the inside of Patrick Smith, and already you see some guys on this outside lane. I'm not sure if any of these guys hit the outside wall or not, but I believe Davey Johnson and Derek Hamill went really high up the racetrack, and you just see how crazier the racing is under the lights. compared to how it is during the day. And here he is, Cookie Helms to the inside for the lead. William Johnson, Luke Rainey behind, and Cookie Helms is out front right now in this last chance qualifier race. Matt Delia moving his way up through the field. In number 10, Marty Johnson on this inside lane with Julio Caesar. And they're going 4 wide down the backstretch. This could get interesting. I think Tyler already might be in a bad position there, and then number 39. See how close he is to the wall. Trying to get to him, but it does not appear that he's going to scrape it. These guys are avoiding hitting that outside wall for now, which is a great thing. Don't really want to see a crash in this race. Don't really want to see a crash throughout the whole event, and so far we haven't seen one. Here comes Richard Kinghart in the 0-0 to the inside of Julio Caesar for second. Remember, the top 2 positions advance on to the main event. Everybody else will be knocked out for the rest of the night. Grayson Acevedo with Eli Bright in the 12 of Igor Barreto on this inside lane. There's Derek Hamill, Nicolas Samudio, John Andrews on the inside lane. That's where you want to be here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. See these guys, they're way up high on the racetrack. William Johnson in the 09. I'm finding it very surprising that they are not hitting that outside wall. We usually see that, but they seem to be controlling it pretty well tonight. Seem to have figured out their stuff for this last chance qualifier, but they're going 4 wide up front. This could get very interesting. Nicolas Samudio, he won an Aero Electric Pro Series race here at this very racetrack back in, I believe, March. So Nicolas Samudio knows what he is doing. The number 09 just massively hit the outside wall, and he is falling back. William Johnston, it's a tough break for him. Nicolas Samudio is still out front for now, but here comes Josh Crash to the inside. It's going to be halfway through this last chance qualifier. Next time by, Andrew Miller in the number 50. He won the first last chance qualifier. Will he win the second one? We're just going to have to see. These guys almost going 5 wide on this racetrack. It is crazy out there. And I would be surprised if these guys manage to keep it clean to the end of the race. Josh Crash still out front. Samudio in the outside wall hard. And he is going to fall back into 73. That's going to be it for Samudio tonight. And if you scrape the outside wall like that, you're not going to get a chance of moving your way back up front. Same with William Johnson. Both of those guys too far back to have a chance at finishing in the top 2. Davey Johnson has moved his way back up front. Here comes Alonso, Nicholas Avey in the 57. But the 01 of Molly Wilson is out front right now. Julio Caesar, Luke Rainey on this inside lane, and the defending NRLOA Big One champion of Cookie Helm still in this thing. Josh Crash almost caused a massive crash in the 24. He was scraping the outside wall. He came back down, but they all avoided him. And fortunately, we have not seen a major incident yet tonight in this event. Of course, there are no cautions, so if they crash, and we keep on racing anyway. Matt Delia moving his way up in the number 10, the 0-0 of Richard Kinghart, Grayson Acevedo. Just got to finish in the top 2 positions, and if you are in the top 2, you're on to the main event, and from there, all you got to do is win. The 01 of Molly Wilson out front still in the 01. Matt Delia taking second away from Luke Rainey. 2 laps to go in this last chance qualifier event. The last chance for these 24 drivers. Matt Delia trying to get the run on the outside here. He's got to go down and clear these guys if he still wants to have a chance at finishing in the top 2. But Oriti's on this way inside. Dalio is going to stay in the second position, pushing Molly Wilson in the 01. Dalio's going for the lead in the number 10. 1.5 laps to go in this last chance qualifier. Derek Hamill, Josh Crash, and John Andrews running up front right now. Colin Dryburgh in the 67 also with a shot. Matt Dalio taking the lead away from Molly Wilson. Molly Wilson has led a major part of this race, but she's going to lose it right here to the 17-time winner. Colin Dryburgh, Patrick Smith, he started on the pole for this race. We'll see how it all shakes out. Matt Dalio in the number 10 is going to lead at the white flag in the last chance qualifier for the NRLOA Big One III, the last chance to make it into the main event. And these guys know it's the last chance. Colin Dryburgh to the inside of Matt Dalio for the lead. And Dalio's on the outside lane here. Will he be able to get the outside lane to work? Here comes Patrick Smith and Andrew Miller. And I believe Dalio has just lost his chance at advancing on in the number 10. It's Colin Dryburgh in the 67 out front right now Here comes the 90 of Patrick Smith. Andrew Miller trying to advance on. Yet again, Hierjel, Arvin, Alonso in the 43. 4 wide for second. And right behind him, it's Garrett Sydnor. Colin Dryburgh is going to run away with this thing. And the final transfer spot is between Alonso and Miller. And even Garrett Sydnor might have a chance, but it's going to Hierjel, Arvin, Alonso, who advances on to the main event, along with Colin Dryburgh in this last chance qualifier. So Colin Dryburgh and Hierjel, Arvin, Alonso, their chances are still alive for being the champion in the NRLOA Big One III. They will be racing in the main event. As for everybody else, their nights are unfortunately over. Andrew Miller, Garrett Sydnor came close. Not enough for those drivers to advance on to the main event. But Colin Dryburgh and Hierjel, Arvin, Alonso, they're on, and they're going to be battling with the other 20 drivers who already qualified their way in to see who's the best driver in the NRLOA for 2017. Cookie Helms is not going to defend his championship here in the NRLOA Big One, but it's just the way it is sometimes. Very hard to advance on to that main event, let me tell you that. 22 drivers, 24 laps, and it's going to come down probably to the final lap of the main event to who wins this NRLOA Big One III. And after this commercial break, we'll get right to it. The main event in the NRLOA Big One III is coming up right after this commercial break here from the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Colin Dryburgh, Hierjel, Arvin, Alonso advance on. Everybody else in this last chance qualifier race, they're done for the night. Let's go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back here for the NRLOA Big One III.
Here, we make NR 2003 schemes how you want them, when you want them, and they look great. Our iRacing services are no different. Who are we? We're Two Wine Designs, and we make your schemes your way.
So I choke on sun, and the days blur into one in the backs of my eyes. Thunder, feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder,
And the time has finally arrived for the main event in the 2017 NRLOA Big One. 22 drivers have qualified their way into this main event to see which driver can be the best driver in the NRLOA for 2017. If you win this race, you get an automatic bid to the NRLOA IROC, which will be held in December. That's a big deal there. And, of course, you're going to get a reserve for next year's big one as well. If you win this thing, you beat 79 other guys. Let's just say that. These guys, they all still have a chance. These 22 drivers ready to make their name known to everybody here in the NRLOA here today. In the NRLOA Big One III. We cannot get this started without firing the engines up. Let's head trackside. The Grand Marshals, Caleb Hoffman. He did not qualify for the main event, but this is going to be his last NRLOA Big One, and he will be retiring at the end of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series season number 6, so we're going to let him do the command here for the main event in the NRLOA Big One III.
On behalf of all the NRLOA drivers, start your engines!
And a fantastic command by the legendary driver who drove the number 7. Unfortunately, he did not qualify, but because he didn't qualify, he got a chance to give that awesome command. The starting lineup for the main event in the NRLOA Big One III is on the bottom of your screen, and it is the number 74 of Jonathan Rains, who starts on the pole position for this main event. Alongside him, it's the number 55 of Garrett Pick. Row number 2, it's Jay Jefferson in the number 16, starting alongside the 0 of Daniel Bouchard. We have Tristan Allen in the number 2, one of the more experienced drivers in the field, starting alongside Kelly Lee in the number 51. Trey Barto in the number 14, another highly experienced driver, starts alongside Ryan Olson in the number 54. The number 20 of Matthew Phillips starts alongside the 25 of Luis Torres. Row number 6, we have Lagasee starting alongside Annie Lynch in the number 46. Griffin Lynn in the 95 starts alongside Dale Salzmann in row number 7. Aidan Shepherd and Clarence Edwards in row number 8. Matt Tuck and Zach Ryan in row number 9. Matt Tuck qualified through the first last chance qualifier race, and that is exactly what Cookie Helms did last year to win the NRLOA Big One. Row number 10, the 06 of Max Neworth and the 92 of Nick Smith, and the two guys who qualified their way in through the last chance qualifier just a few moments ago. Colin Dryburgh and Hierjel Arvin Alonso start in the final row alongside each other. It's all come down to this. It's going to be a 24-lap race split up into two 12-lap segments, so on the ticker you're going to see that it's going to be counted to 12 laps. But the way they finish in the first segment is how they will line up for the second segment. And as long as you are on the lead lap in segment number 1, you will race in segment number 2 with a fresh race car. And, yeah, I think that's all I need to explain. Remember, the cautions are not on. So if these guys crash, they crash. It's all come down to this. It's been a long day here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Many heat races, many eliminations, but now the 22 drivers are ready to take the green flag in the main event. We're racing in the final race of the NRLOA Big One III. Who's going to get it done here in the Coca-Cola Super Speedway? Already a ton of action on the first lap of the race. Matthew Phillips leads lap number 1 in segment number 1 of the main event. Tristan Allen in the outside wall hard. But remember, this is the first segment, and as long as you finish on the lead lap, you're good to go for segment number 2. Jonathan Rains, the pole sitter, also in the outside wall hard, along with Kelly Lee. But we have not had a crash on the racetrack, so that is a good thing. We've gone this whole event without a crash. Very fascinating. Matt Tuck, he's 4 wide on the outside here of Colin Dryburgh, and Tuck's in the outside wall tremendously in the number 97. My goodness. A very hard impact for the number 97 of Matt Tuck. Got to be careful coming back down the racetrack after you scrape the wall like that. Daniel Bouchard, Luis Torres getting in the way there. And it's the number 43 of Hierjel Arvin Alonso, who qualified through the second last chance qualifier race, who leads lap number 2 in the main event. Lagasee, Annie Lynch, Jay Jefferson on this inside lane, and the 06 of Max Neworth almost got into Nick Smith, and that could have been very dramatic. But fortunately, those guys figured it out, and all these guys are still on the lead lap for now, but they're going to go 5 wide into the corner. Dale Salzmann to the inside of Jay Jefferson, Trey Barto, and Clarence Edwards. And I believe the 43 of Hierjel Arvin Alonso has gone into the outside wall. This is what the Coca-Cola Super Speedway under the lights is known for. And Trey Barto did just the same that Alonso did just a moment ago. He hit the outside wall a ton. And out front, it is the number 46 of Annie Lynch. But here comes Jay Jefferson, Zach Ryan, Clarence Edwards on this inside lane here. Dale Salzmann right behind the number 22. And then it's Max Neworth behind those guys. Jefferson is going to take the lead away from Annie Lynch on lap 4 of 24 in the NRLOA Big One III main event. Remember, at the end of 12 laps, we will take a quick break and then get back to racing. It's 2 segments, each 12 laps long. Annie Lynch in the outside wall. She's falling back, and you see how much this field is spread out. Tristan Allen at the end of the pack right now. But as long as you finish on the lead lap in this first segment, you're good to go in segment number 2. Ryan Olson to the inside of Dale Salzmann and J.H. Jefferson. Here comes Griffin Lynn. Al Lagasee on the inside lane. Garrett Pick in the number 55. It's been a very long time since Garrett Pick has driven here on Napa Fam, but he's got a chance at winning one of the biggest races run on this channel. They're 4 wide for the lead. Al Lagasee to the inside of Griffin Lynn, but nobody has any help, and Ryan Olson gets the run on the outside, and he's going to stay out front in the number 54. Max North in the outside wall in the 06, and he is scraping it tremendously. But as long as you finish on the lead lap, you're good to go for the second segment, and that's the segment that really counts. The number 54 still out front. Ryan Olson with Al Lagasee, Griffin Lynn, Clarence Edwards, Garrett Pick, the 0 of Daniel Bouchard. There's Colin Dryburgh in the 67, Matthew Phillips, Luis Torres. Aidan Shepherd has never won before on Napa Fan. He's driven in quite a few races, but he's never gotten a victory. He might have a chance at possibly doing so today in the NRLOA Big One. How would that be for Aidan Shepherd if he could pull it off in the number 26? 3 wide for the lead as Clarence Edwards goes 3 wide to the inside of Al Lagasee and Ryan Olson. And Edwards will take it away from Lagasee on lap 6 of 12 in segment number 1. And the way they finish here in segment number 1 will determine how they line up for segment number 2, the final segment of the main event in the NRLOA Big One III. Daniel Bouchard running 3rd in the number 0. Griffin Lynn, the 25 of Luis Torres. And Bouchard will get a run to the inside of Clarence Edwards. Ryan Olson in the outside wall. And Olson's going to fall back in the number 54. You see all these guys back in here. A lot of these guys have hit the outside wall, and they have lost the main draft. See, Annie Lynch, she is all by herself right now in the number 46. And Zach Ryan in the number 42 is also by himself as well. Clarence Edwards in the outside wall tremendously in the number 22. And the leader is now Griffin Lynn in the number 95. No, Daniel Bouchard gets the run on the outside and leads lap 7 of 24 in the main event. Great run by Bouchard in the outside lane. If you remember the Aero Electric Pro Series race we had here back in March, they were side by side at the line, and it was a very close finish between Isaac Nichols and Nicolas Samudio. There goes Aidan Shepherd. I was just talking about him a moment ago. Wouldn't it be something if his first career victory on Napa Fan came in the NRLOA Big One? That would definitely be something special for the number 26. Dale Salzmann's going to get to the inside of him, however, and Garrett Pick might hit this outside wall here in the 55. He is way up there on the racetrack, and he is going to scrape it. Garrett Pick might fall back a little bit, but right now we're just racing to see where these guys are going to start for the second segment. Daniel Bouchard leads lap number 8. Griffin Lynn, Dale Salzmann, Luis Torres, and Aidan Shepherd, the top 5 right now. Trey Barto and Tristan Allen, quite possibly the 2 most experienced drivers in this race, are right now just crossing the start-finish line to start lap number 9 of this race. They're quite a ways behind our leaders, and if they're not careful, they might possibly get lapped. And if they get lapped, they will not start in segment number 2. You have to finish on the lead lap in order to transfer on to the second segment. It seems like Daniel Bouchard has solidified his spot as the leader right now in the number 0. Aidan Shepherd, however, is moving his way through the field here in the number 26. He has help from Al Lagasee. But once these guys get single file like they are, it gets really hard for these guys to pass. But Lagasee is going to get a run to the inside of Shepherd and Lynn, I do believe. And Lagasee is going to take the second position. But the 26 getting a run on the outside here. Will Shepherd stay in the second position, or will Lagasee take it? Here comes Clarence Edwards in the number 22. He just hit the outside wall not too long ago, but he is back in the mix in that Dodge machine. But Bouchard is liking what he's seeing behind him, but keep in mind there's still another segment left, and these guys are going to get bunched back up for that second segment. But Daniel Bouchard currently leading here in segment number 1. Griffin Lynn in the outside wall tremendously in the number 95. Aidan Shepherd remains in the second position. They did get around the 54 of Ryan Olson, and look at this behind these guys. They're 4 wide. That's Colin Dryburgh, Dale Salzmann, Matthew Phillips, and Luis Torres, with Jay Jefferson in number 16 in the middle of all this. And you know what? I think we might get a pass for the lead here before this segment is over. Aidan Shepherd came really close to getting to the inside of Daniel Bouchard. And Al Lagasee tried to get to the inside of Shepherd. That might be why Shepherd did not get around the number 0. But Daniel Bouchard in the number 0, I am fairly sure he has never won a race before on Napa Fan, and he came really close last Monday at Texas. He led at the white flag of that race. He ended up finishing 4th. White flag in segment 1 of 2 here in the main event for the NRLOA Big One III. The way they finish in this segment is how they will line up for the final segment of this main event in the NRLOA Big One III. And in that final segment, we will determine the winner of this big race. It looks like Trey Barto and Tristan Allen are going to be safe. They're going to stay on the lead lap. And it does appear that Daniel Bouchard will start on the pole position for the second segment of the main event and the final segment of the main event as well. So it's Bouchard, Shepherd, Lagasee, Edwards, and Olson, the top 5. And through the final couple of corners, the number 0 of Daniel Bouchard will win segment number 1, and he will start on the pole for the final segment in the main event. Bouchard, Shepherd, and Lagasee, top 3. And Daniel Bouchard will lead the field to the green flag in segment number 2. Everybody finished on the lead lap. So where they finished in this segment is how they will line up for the final segment of the NRLOA Big One III. Let's go ahead and get it started here for the final segment of this race. Bouchard will start on the pole position. And the cars have refired. And we're going to restart this race midway through. The caution laps in between here do not count. Of course, there weren't any official caution laps because we just had another race, of course. But segment number 2 will begin with Daniel Bouchard leading the field in the number 0, the number 26 to his outside. That is Aidan Shepherd. Al Lagasee and Clarence Edwards alongside each other in row number 2. Ryan Olson and Dale Salzmann in row number 3. Jay Jefferson and Colin Dryburgh in row number 4. Then it's Luis Torres and the 20 of Matthew Phillips in row number 5. It's all come down to this. These 22 drivers still on the lead lap, by the way, all looking to grab the victory in the NRLOA Big One III. Who is going to get it done in this final 12-lap segment? They're going to restart lap 13 of 24. Of course, the ticker will say 12 laps, but theoretically, the main event is a 24-lap race split up into 2 segments. And this is the final segment of the NRLOA Big One III. And we will crown a winner in just 12 laps. About 10 minutes from now, we'll know who the winner is in the NRLOA Big One III. Who's going to write their name in the history books? We're going to actually have to wait because Nick Smith having an issue. And even though this is a restart, it still counts as a redo. So they're going to reset it. Pace car's going to come back, and we'll be back in just a second. And now we're ready. Everybody is going to restart here in lap 13 and 24 in the main event. Pace car is pulled off. We're back to green flag racing in the main event of the NRLOA Big One III. Who's going to get it done here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway? It's 12 laps, and Lagasee is now wasting any time, and the number 73 wide to the lead for Al Lagasee. Aidan Shepherd on this outside lane right here. You're going to want to watch for these guys hitting this outside wall. Colin Dryburgh in the outside wall in the 67. And he's going to fall back. It's a tough one for him. Of course, this is the final segment, and you need to be running up front in this segment alone because there is no segment after this one. And this is it. You got to win this race if you want to win the NRLOA Big One III. Ryan Olson to the inside of Clarence Edwards and Daniel Bouchard as Al Lagasee takes the lead. Might want to watch for these guys here. The 46 of Annie Lynch is around. Remember, we do not have any cautions. She is going to avoid hitting the wall, but she spun around the number 46. That's a tough break for her. And there's Jesse Jenner's development driver there spinning around on lap 1. That was our first incident of this event all day long. Luis Torres hard in the outside wall. Clarence Edwards bouncing off of it as well in the 22. And Edwards is going to fall back. Here comes Trey Barto, gaining some momentum in the 14. He finished last in the first segment, trying to regain his momentum. Nick Smith back in here. Zach Ryan back in here as well. Aidan Shepherd also falling back. To the front, Lagasee has just lost the lead to Daniel Bouchard, who restarted in the first position. Here comes Hierjel Arvin Alonso in the number 43, taking the lead. Or at least trying to, but it's going to be Bouchard. No! Alonso leads lap number 2 in segment number 2. And he leads overall lap 14 of this main event of 24 laps. Here comes Tristan Allen in the number 2 to the inside of Hierjel Arvin Alonso for the lead. Ryan Olson. Oh, and somebody blowing up. That's the 20 of Matthew Phillips. And Phillips is going to be done for the night. That's a tough one for the rookie driver making his first ever start. His engine blowing up on lap 15 overall of this race. And his day is unfortunately going to be done in that number 20. Change for the lead, Griffin Lynn. Now Trey Barto, Max Newirth, and Matt Tuck on this inside lane here. Barto trying to take the lead away from Griffin Lynn. Look at the way these guys are weaving down the racetrack. We might see another incident before this thing is all over. Got some guys back in here. I think somebody else is also. That's Kelly Lee in the 51 who has had an issue. I do not know if she crashed or not. But she might have, and it might have been along with the number 20. So that's an unfortunate one there for those guys. But anyways, the number 97 going to get to the inside of Max Newirth, and Kelly Lee did officially restart this segment, so this race is official. Wanted to make sure she did not fail to start, but she did restart in this segment. So something happened to the number 51, and we don't really have the time to review it. Max Newirth in the outside wall a little bit. Here comes Garrett Pick, Zach Ryan on this inside lane right here. The number 42 might have a chance at getting this win. Lagasee in the middle of all this, with a couple of veterans on the outside in Matt Tuck and Trey Barto, but they're on the outside, and we haven't really seen that work too well here tonight. Matt Tuck's on the outside in the 97. He's scraping the wall tremendously as Trey Barto gets around him in the number 14. And Tuck's going to fall back. Newirth in the outside wall again in the 06, another one of those veteran drivers. And he is going to fall back as well, but Tuck tremendously scraped the outside wall, and the 97 is falling back. Zach Ryan to the inside of Garrett Pick for the lead. Trey Barto in the 14. Daniel Bouchard in the 0. Alonso and Tristan Allen in this inside lane, and Nick Smith in the outside wall. Oh, and around goes Griffin Lynn in the inside wall hard for the number 95. He was trying to avoid Nick Smith as he hit the outside wall and lost a lot of momentum. And Griffin Lynn with an issue in this final segment of the main event. My goodness. And the 70 of Lagasee has scraped the wall tremendously, and he's not going to win this race. Trey Barto trying to take the lead away from Zach Ryan. He's got Daniel Bouchard right behind him. Bouchard has never won before on Napa Fan. He's got a great chance of doing so here tonight. Same with Zach Ryan. And I don't know if Garrett Pick has ever won. He might have won before. I can't quite remember. It's been a long time since he's really raced that much on this channel. Barto to the inside of Zach Ryan. Bouchard to the inside of Barto. But Barto has the slight advantage for now. You see the smoke from the Griffin Lynn incident the lap before. And lap 18 of 24 will be complete right here in the main event for the NRLOA Big One III. Here comes the 14 to the inside of Zach Ryan. Trey Barto is going to take it this time. Alonso right behind in the 43. And the 43 is going to get to the inside of Barto and take the lead, or at least try to. They're going to be side by side down the backstretch. Here comes Garrett Pick in the 55. Daniel Bouchard and Tristan Allen on this inside lane. Barto trying to get the outside lane to stick, but Alonso is going to take the lead. Here comes Bouchard to the inside of Pick for the 3rd position. But Alonso is going to barely have an advantage for the moment. Barto on the outside here. He is going to barely tap the wall. Zach Ryan in the outside wall a little bit. Don't look now. Matt Tuck still has a chance in the 97. He might get a draft on this group here and possibly get the win. Garrett Pick, 3 wide to the inside of Bouchard and Alonso for the lead. Here comes Colin Dryburgh, Tristan Allen Luis Torres is still in this thing in the number 25. Ryan Olson and Trey Barto still has a chance in the number 14. Still quite a ways to go here in this main event, but not too much time. It's 4.5 laps to go in the NRLOA Big One III. Got to hand it to Bouchard. He restarted first. He's been up front most of this segment. And Garrett Pick's going to get to the inside of him and take the lead. How about Colin Dryburgh? He advanced on through the the second last chance qualifier race, along with Hierjel, Arvin, Alonso. He won the second last chance qualifier race, and he's right now running second with 4 laps to go in the main event for the NRLOA Big One III. Garrett Pick is out front right now in the number 55. Trey Barto in the 14 on this inside lane. The 25 of Luis Torres is going to get passed by the 14. And Barto, he is probably the best driver in this field right now. And then number 14, the Turkey Hill Series champion from 2016, the Season 3 Turkey Hill Series champion. He's trying to get around Torres, not able to do so, and we have hit single file. This is exactly how Daniel Bouchard won the first segment. Bouchard's going to try to get to the inside of Garrett Pick, however, and he might have just made it stick. Colin Dryburgh is going to move up and help Garrett Pick, however. No, he's going to stay with Bouchard, and that's going to help Bouchard, and Bouchard will lead lap number 9 in the main event. It's 3 laps to go in the NRLOA Big One III. Daniel Bouchard leading the field. Trey Barto to the inside of Luis Torres, and Barto's going to take it away from the 25. Garrett Pick falling back. They're going to be 3 wide for the lead. Tristan Allen to the inside of Colin Dryburgh and Daniel Bouchard for the lead, but Bouchard's going to get the run on the outside, or is he? Garrett Pick and Trey Barto can help these guys. Barto's going to go to the inside of Tristan Allen. Barto has a great chance at winning this thing in that number 14. He won an Air Electric Pro Series race here back in season number 3 of the series at this very racetrack. Barto knows how to get it done at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. He's done it before. Matt Tuck also with a chance. Torres in the outside wall a little bit. And it's 2 laps to go in the NRLOA Big One III. Daniel Bouchard leads it with 2 laps to go. But this thing is far from over. These guys are definitely very antsy up front, and they might find a way around this number 0 before this race is over. The 67 of Colin Dryburgh, he's going to have a rear view mirror full of this 14 of Trey Barto. Barto trying to get to the inside of the 67 and the 55. If Barto can make this pass stick, it's going to be between Trey Barto and Daniel Bouchard, but Barto was not able to do so. He lost a lot of momentum because he did not have any help. And we're back to this single file racing, and that's exactly what happened to Bouchard in the first segment. But Garrett Pick's going to try to change all that in the 55. They're coming to the white flag, and they're side by side for the lead in the NRLOA Big One III. Daniel Bouchard and Garrett Pick. Who's going to get it done here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway? Here comes Dryburgh and Trey Barto. Barto's going to try to get to the inside of Dryburgh, not able to do so. Pick's going to get to the inside of Bouchard. Dryburgh's going to get to the inside of Pick, and here comes Trey Barto in the 14. But Barto does not have any help in that number 14 machine, and I believe this one's going to be between Bouchard, or excuse me, not Bouchard, but Dryburgh and Pick. The 67, he transferred over in the second last chance qualifier. Here comes Matt Tuck in the 97 to the inside of Trey Barto, and Daniel Bouchard found the inside lane again. We're going to be side by side at the line for the NRLOA Big One III. Daniel Bouchard and Colin Dryburgh. Neither of these guys have won before on Epiphan, and it's going to Daniel Bouchard, who wins the NRLOA Big One III here at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Number 0 is number 1 here today. How about that one? He lost the lead entering turn number 1. He found his way back to the inside, and he got around Colin Dryburgh to get the victory here in the NRLOA Big One III. Congratulations to Daniel Bouchard, the winner of the 2017 edition of the NRLOA Big One. He had a chance, and he took advantage of his chance to get the victory. Got to hand it to Colin Dryburgh, however. He advanced on from the second last chance qualifier and finished second. Came oh so close to Bouchard there. Trey Barto, he was in the mix there late in the going. He could have done it, but unfortunately he finished, or at least unfortunately for Trey Barto, he finished in the 3rd position. There is your winner. Daniel Bouchard in the number 0 wins the NRLOA Big One III his first career Napa fan win in one of the biggest races on the channel. He just beat 79 other guys to get this victory, and there's going to be a lot of celebrating in that number 0 camp here today. Daniel Bouchard gets it done in the NRLOA Big One III. Colin Dryburgh, Trey Barto, Garrett Pick, and Matt Tuck, the top 5. And you see the rest of the results right there. How about that finish? Bouchard weaved his way around to take the lead away from Dryburgh to win the NRLOA Big One. And what a day it was as well. Lots of heat racing. Didn't really see many crashes except for this final segment of the main event. But it was still a fantastic event, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Spent a lot of time on this. Probably spent a lot of time editing, and I hope you guys enjoy this race and what is all to come here on Napa Fan. But anyways, thank you guys so much for all of the support. I say this at the end of every big race, but I mean it a lot. I love you guys so much. You guys are huge supporters, and I don't know what I would do without you guys, because you know, the Lord has blessed me with great friends and great fans on this channel, and I hope He blesses all of you guys as well. God bless you all as always, and I hope His blessings shower on you today and forever in your lives. But anyways, Daniel Bouchard, the winner, and I'm really happy by the way this one turned out. I don't feel like I made too many mistakes, and it was a pretty good race as well. It wasn't technically a last lap pass, but it still kind of was, because Colin Dryburgh had the lead going into turn number 3. Bouchard got to the inside of him and stole it away from the 67. And Daniel Bouchard, the winner of the NRLOA Big One III here in 2017. Congratulations to him on his first career victory on Napa Fan, coming in, at least driver-wise, the biggest race of the year. He beat out 79 other drivers to get this victory here today, and it surely was fun. But anyways, thank you guys so much for all the support yet again. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Today I'm graduating, and after that, I don't know what's going to happen in my life. But you know what? I know I'm always going to be here, and I can't thank you guys enough for all the support yet again. Congratulations to Daniel Bouchard for winning the NRLOA Big One III. And that is it for me here today. Chick-fil-A Cup Series returns June 19th. Today's June 17th. Chick-fil-A Cup Series returns June 19th at the Talladega Super Speedway for the Mountain Dew 500. And from there, we'll see who wins the Chick-fil-A Cup Series Championship. I don't think we're going to really have anything else on this channel until then. I really don't know, but I will say that once June 29th comes around, we're going to have some fun, and we're going to bring a lot of new things to the channel and to the NRLOA, so I'm majorly looking forward to all of that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this race. I know for sure that Daniel Bouchard did, grabbing his first career victory on Napa Fan. On Monday, he lost the race on the last lap pass at Texas, but today, he's a winner in the Big One. Thank you guys very much for watching. Congratulations to Daniel Bouchard, and I will see you guys later.